That was horrible.
Hey, what's up?
Hey, what's up, Derek?
Oh, I'm just got back from being outside.
Yeah, in the great outdoors.
Yeah,
the great Australian woods, I hear, is where you were hidden.
Yeah, I was outside. I was screaming at the sky.
What were you screaming out at the sky?
I was begging for a werewolf to take over my body.
Begging for like the spirit of a wolf, you mean?
No,
like
but
trying to make you like a big one, right?
Well,
like a big dog.
The big one! Yeah, I just kept screaming, the big one! Over and over at the sky.
And how'd that go?
Well, I am dead now.
Oh.
And this is actually the phantom version of myself. I'm projecting myself forward.
The phantom. Did I call you then?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But we're back here now. We're chilling.
Yeah.
So anyway, I'm Derek.
I'm Isaac. We're here to tell you all about our wonderful journeys in Australia through watching the Howling III: the Marsupials.
It was a movie that we watched. It may have taken 8 hours, but we made it through it.
Yeah, this hour and 40-minute movie definitely took like 16 hours to make it through.
At least.
Yes.
At least 16 hours. I see you're not alone.
I am not alone, no.
I got back from my trip. And I see that you're not alone.
Yeah, we found a friend this time.
That's awesome.
This movie was made a much more bearable experience by watching with your good lady wife, Emily.
Yeah, she's cool.
And then our wonderful guest here, Miss Lex Hogan.
Hello,
Say hi
Lex.
to the people.
Hi guys, how are you doing?
I think they're doing well.
Wait, no, I heard them.
Uh-huh.
Oh, they say they're great.
They're great.
One person said that they were having a horrible day.
Well, hopefully this will make it a less horrible day. Lex Hogan, will you please tell the people about yourself a little bit? I feel like you can probably do that better than we ever could.
Hi, I'm just a fellow horror fan. I also happen to work in film. I'm a script supervisor.
Such a cool title.
That is such a cool...
I know, it sounds really official,
so
right?
official.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it is, though. There's like a lot that goes into that stuff. Like, right? Like what do you do as a script supervisor?
So I basically, I oversee the continuity. In a nutshell, I make sure the stuff that we shoot is going to cut well once it gets to the editing room.
Which I'm sure is not an easy job. Like that takes probably a lot of brain power the entire time.
Yeah, it's you can't really be a perfectionist because it never really goes that well. It's really hard to keep everything.
I'm sure there's a lot of like butting heads with like what people want all the time.
Yeah, and it's kind of my job to tell people when they're doing something wrong, which, as you can see, actors don't love hearing that.
Yeah, that's not very. That's got to be a rough job, I hate telling people to like stop doing certain things, right? Like hey, you get down from that. You're not supposed to be there, but you're doing this wrong for the continuity's sake.
Yeah, exactly.
That's got to be that takes bravery.
Yes,
it takes cojones.
Yes, cojones.
Absolutely.
I always thought that script supervision was kind of like babysitting, where you would they would hand you like 8 scripts. And you would sit there and stare at all of them.
You're supervising
and if one got out of line, you'd be like, no, you go back in line. And then when the director shows up, he's like, which one's my script? I'm here to pick up my
Spielberg
script.
walks through. It's like, I need you to watch these scripts for me, okay?
You're holding the Fablemans in your hands.
That sounds more fun than what my job is.
No, I'm sure your job's amazing.
So what are some things that you have worked on?
Yeah, give us your favorites.
Or non-favorites.
Yeah. Oh, well, I can't say what my non-favorites are.
Yeah, exactly.
please don't.
Just non-specific. What's some stuff here?
Yeah, I'll get blacklisted if I do that. Let's see. I really love. I'm very proud. I was script supervisor on Hereditary and a small unit of Midsommar. Which,
Wild.
That is just insane.
Yeah, that was super fun.
Yeah.
I'm obviously super proud of those movies.
Yes.
They turned out great.
Absolutely, yeah. And thank you for coming to join us on our humble little podcast.
Yeah, we're just little baby boys.
After doing things like that, right? Like that's
so
insane.
cool.
You must have been like so close to director himself, Mr. Ari Aster.
Yeah. My job, we sit right next to the director. We take notes from them.
Is that like very nerve-wracking to be like that
right?
close?
Maybe day one.
No, yeah, but then you're chums.
Yeah, and then honestly, when we were shooting Hereditary, I had no idea who Ari Aster was. I had no reason.
That's
Right,
true.
that makes
I guess that
sense.
was his big break, right?
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, so he was just another filmmaker.
Yeah, that is really interesting.
Is that when his mommy issues started to come out? So you're like sitting next to Ari Aster and you're like, yeah, my mom just called me. He's like, oh boy, do I got a tale for you. My mom is insane. You're like, oh, Ari.
Are there ever times where like you and the director don't get along that well because of continuity issues there?
For sure.
Oh, really?
Mostly it's that they don't really want to hear about continuity issues.
Really?
Yeah, I guess that's fair.
I'm sure that's probably like the least of their worries, right? Like that's on you to worry about, but that does
Right.
become rough.
Yeah, and I think I have to respect it to a certain degree because I actually do, I'm a writer in my free time and I understand
course.
the art of it. So honestly, continuity at the end of the day is not the most important thing.
And have been awarded for your writing, is that right?
Well, I did write a short film.
Tell us about it. You can't just gloss over that.
Oh,
The
well,
people are dying to know.
it's called The Last Queen on Earth. Has recently been released on YouTube. It did
Why do we
a
watch this?
Yes.
We gotta go watch this.
Absolutely. Go check it out.
because you guys are gonna make fun of it.
No, not at all.
Absolutely not.
No, I hope it's better than we don't have a Rotten Tomatoes percentage, but I would hope it would
Yet.
be above. Yet, sure.
Yes.
Yet.
Did they review short films?
I'm not
maybe
sure
I don't
if
know.
they get that deep.
I'll
But
give
they
him a call
should.
though.
Yeah.
I'll reach
Give
out
them-
to him.
Thank you.
Yes, Mr. Tomato.
Yeah.
He's not answering.
Yeah, you can look it up on YouTube and
Yeah.
give it a watch. I
Yes.
would appreciate it.
Wonderful.
Of
The
course.
Last Queen on Earth. Yeah, absolutely.
Last Queen on Earth, 2020 is when that came out,
Mm-hmm.
and it won 3 things. I thought that you were the sole winner, but you were
I
not.
was the winner just for the best screenplay award, but then we won best short in a couple
narrative
festivals.
short at San Diego and Cleveland.
Cleveland
best
International.
after hours
Hours
short.
short.
Yes.
Wow.
What does that mean? What does it mean?
It means so our short, the after hours category is for kind of the darker, like dark comedies,
Interesting.
horror, that kind of thing.
So would you say it is a dark comedy horror, or
Yes.
just okay?
Yes,
Well,
dramedy,
Dramedy.
musical. No, I'm just kidding. It's
Oh,
what?
Wow.
Oh man, I got so
I got
excited.
so pumped. I'm sure it's still great.
I'm
though.
gonna
sure
watch
it's
it
still
completely
wonderful.
believing it's a musical, and I'm gonna sing the whole time.
Yeah,
Movie.
I'm
that's
ready
fine.
for it. I'm excited.
Disappointed, but-
Do you ever worry that like you're laying in bed? You know how like when you're really stressed about your day and you're like, I just said all those things to those people today that was really stupid. You know that? Do you ever worry that those directors are sitting at home in their bed and they're like, oh my gosh, do you remember when I was filming Hereditary and that script supervisor told me that this person wasn't supposed to bang their head at this specific moment? They're just like really bad. Do you ever worry about that?
I literally, like, a huge part of my job is like getting text messages from the director at like 10 p.m.
Really?
And they're like, I just woke up because I just realized something. And the first thing they say to me the next day is like, I had a horrible, like, I woke up at 4 a.m. and I
Oh my
realized
gosh.
something horrible. It's the worst part
I
of my
didn't realize how
job.
true that is.
Directing a film is super stressful.
yeah, of
apparently.
course.
I
Yeah.
bet. I couldn't
And-
imagine. I couldn't go
can't.
through that.
No. Oh, that's terrible.
And depending on my relationship, sometimes I am like either the confidant of the director or I'm a scapegoat. They either could be saying, I'm telling you about this thing that I'm worried about, or they're like, you're going to be fired soon. Just letting you know.
Goodness.
Lord.
That's so strange.
Yeah, that's got to be
A
rough.
lot of emotions.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you've also worked on High School Musical, the series.
Yes.
Which is the biggest mouthful of a title.
Yes.
It's quite a mouthful.
That is also a horror movie, correct?
Depends on how
if you're
many
afraid of
mushrooms
teens
you've
and
had.
singing.
That's funny. What else do you have going on? What are you excited about? What are your upcoming projects? Things you can talk about.
Well, I am going to Belize in a few weeks for a movie.
Wow.
Can you say the movie, or is that hush hush?
I don't know if I can speak about it.
That's so
Well,
cool.
I feel cooler than you probably feel.
Yeah, like
Sitting next to
we're
you.
in the room with somebody who's going to Belize for a film they can't talk about. Like that's so
that is
cool
so
to me.
cool.
You guys could go to Belize too if you wanted to.
I believe in myself that I could,
I
but
believe-
I was going to
Good.
tell you, Derek, I've actually got a trip to Cancun planned, but I can't tell you anything about that.
I guess that's true. We could just plan trips and not tell each other about it.
Except I trust you, Lex.
Yes.
When you say it, I believe it.
Yeah, I
you seem
feel
to-
like there is some contract somewhere.
Yes,
that
you've
is-
definitely got the chops to back that up. But
One
that's
thing-
exciting.
That is super exciting. I hate to backtrack a little bit, but something we completely glossed over. How'd you get into this?
Oh,
What inspired you? How did you become a script supervisor? I mean, I'm sure you didn't go to school being like, I'm going to be a script supervisor, right?
Unless you did.
Unless you did, in which case, awesome.
I did not. I actually literally drew the position out of a hat
Oh,
Wow.
with a group of people.
Really?
Yeah,
Whoa.
we all got together. We're like, we're going to make a movie and no egos. Everyone just draw your position out of a hat.
Was everyone
Dang.
really cool about that, or were there definitely people who were like upset about it?
No, we
That's great.
We made the pact, and that was just the agreement. And
Was
then,
it
but
blood? Was it blood?
There was no blood.
No blood.
Because you could have put blood into the hat, and that would have been really cool.
That would have been cool.
I mean, a little like disease-ridden, but really cool.
Yeah, this
but
was
still.
pre-COVID, so we weren't thinking about that.
That's true. No one really thought about
Wasn't
that
on
before
the
COVID. Anyway,
But I did not know what a script supervisor was.
Really?
I
Oh.
drew it and I said, "What is this?" And the guy said, "I don't really know. Just Google it."
and then he threw a
man.
script on the ground and said, "Supervise this."
Yep. And here I am.
So, did you go to school for film then?
Yeah, I went to the University of Utah.
Awesome.
They didn't really teach script supervising.
Yeah,
So
right.
I focused on writing and directed a couple shorts when I was there.
Awesome.
So
As
cool.
per the degrees.
That
Yeah.
is so cool.
Yeah.
You also worked on Yellowstone, apparently.
Oh yeah. I mean,
Like,
we all worked on Yellowstone at least a day or two in this state. They were just massive crews. They needed,
Wow,
when they were
really?
shooting in Utah all the time.
I guess there's a lot of ground to cover.
so like,
Yeah.
were you there when Old Faithful? Were you there when Old Faithful went off?
were you about to say old fucker?
I mean, kind of, but like,
Fired.
is that his name? He's the big one who shoots up, right?
yeah, that's the one.
Oh,
There's no answer to that question.
just the Utah unit.
I have a question though.
Yeah.
You're also working on something called Gonzo Girl.
Yeah.
Is that like a girl version of
Please
Gonzo
tell
from
me
the
that has
Muppets?
anything to do with the Muppet.
I wish. Oh,
Dang it!
no.
Well, then I don't care.
It has.
No, I'm
it's
just kidding.
about
Willem Dafoe.
Yeah, did have Willem Dafoe in it.
What?
Sure, no problem.
Okay, you don't understand how big of fans of Willem Dafoe we are.
Oh.
He comes up
Just-
every episode.
I'm like blushing. This is so crazy.
Wow.
She's
And
gonna
you're,
be
you're just like,
Willem
yeah, uh-huh. That's
I
so
mean,
cool.
I was more excited about Gonzo, but I mean, I love Willem Dafoe as well.
Well,
What about Willem Dafoe voicing
That's
Gonzo?
yeah. Oh my gosh. can you
Holy
imagine?
crap! Can we make that happen somehow?
Yeah, the lighthouse would be a lot more interesting. Be like, look at you.
Oh, so you're fond of me lobster, are you?
Is that supposed to be Kermit?
I think that's supposed to be Kermit.
Kermit is Robert Pattinson's character there.
Kermit and Gonzo.
Then Willem
Like-
Gonzo comes in like, oh, you're fond of me, lobster.
That's what. What's the line that Pattinson even says in that movie? Patterson.
You, you reek of jism.
Oh, gross.
Why is it the only
I'm
line
imagining
from the-
his nose covered in
No. That's the only line from The Lighthouse I can think of right now.
Something about seagulls.
Something about seagulls, yeah.
Something about
Great movie. So Gonzo Girl, completely
So-
unrelated
yeah,
to the
yeah, yeah,
Muppets,
yeah.
but Willem Dafoe's involved, and that's wonderful.
Yeah.
It's very exciting.
Yeah, I honestly think it's going to be a really good movie.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just waiting for it to come out.
Whoa, and it's Patricia Arquette.
Yeah, she
I can
directed
never say her name.
Arquette.
I think Arquette
Oh wait,
is
are
right.
you done with this movie?
Oh yeah, we shot it last summer.
Wow.
Oh, so you can confirm that Gonzo is not in it, voiced by
okay.
Willem Dafoe.
Yeah, as far
was-
as I know.
I was holding out hope, but that's all right.
I was holding out for a Gonzo.
I'm holding out for a Gonzo.
Hey, that's a pretty good Gonzo.
That's not bad.
That was pretty
I've never
good.
tried a Gonzo before.
Oh my
There's
goodness.
not a lot of Kermits on this one.
I love it. I love all things this.
How long before movies are released are they typically filmed? Because I'm sure like the editing process and all that kind of stuff takes a decent amount of time, right?
On everything except the Hallmark movies, those come out in 2 months.
What? From beginning to end?
It's insane.
That
explains
just
so
much.
much.
to cram in.
But like honestly, think about it. Just like real quick,
Okay,
play
I'm
a
thinking-
Hallmark movie through your head.
Okay, give me a minute. I'm gonna play a whole Hallmark movie in my head.
Is it a
you guys
brother
keep
and a
going? I'll
sister
come
falling
back.
in love? Well, I think you're already done.
Yeah, I'm done. I finished it actually.
Was it good?
I finished too.
That's
It
why
was
you have
great.
tears in your eyes.
So it's just
So wait,
the dog came home. It was beautiful.
it turned out Santa was her father the entire time. Wait, so have you worked on Hallmark movies then?
Many.
Oh, many.
It feels like the popcorn chicken of like doing movies, right? Like that's a quick. You can bust that out in 2 months apparently.
So if I wanted to get involved in doing Hallmark movies, I don't think that's ever been a dream of mine, but it would be cool.
I'm sure it's someone's dream, right?
Yeah, well, it has to. I think it's my mom's dream for me.
Oh, that makes sense.
Because she watches a lot of Hallmark movies, and I could see her in like 20 years if I did a Hallmark movie.
Oh,
She'd-
Derek, I'm so proud of
Oh,
you in
thanks,
your Hallmark
Mommy.
movie. Why
Wait,
do
what?
you sound like you've become your mother in 20 years?
Oh no! Oh my God, I'm Ari Aster.
Oh, God.
I'm having mother issues.
So do you want to talk about this movie?
I guess we technically could.
I guess we could, yeah.
Yeah, so Lex joined us for the movie, so she's going to stick around. She's going to chime in every once in a while with some cool
Yes.
facts and tidbits.
And it's really great to have like your input because you can come at us from like the production standpoint, right? Of like things that we have absolutely no idea how any of this works in the slightest. So you have like the know-how of that we will never have.
Right.
I would love if you would pretend like you're sitting next to Felipe Mora, who was the director of this movie, and just like
what was
yell
going
at
through
me.
their head at this moment.
I want you to yell at me. Be like, why did you do that? And he'll be like, leave me alone. I'll call you at 10 o'clock at night.
I'll come back with
And
that.
ask you why I did anything. I wish I script supervised this movie. It seems fun.
Oh boy, I wish I didn't know this movie existed. So I was a better person.
Yeah, so we watched The Howling III, The Marsupials from
Or-
1987.
Or The Marsupials, Howling 3.
Yeah, because the title
Howling
card was
3.
a little backwards.
Or The Marsupials. You can find it that way anywhere. All four of those
never know.
are all that. So this movie was based on The Howling 3, The Echoes.
which is a book, yeah.
Yeah, so it is basically a completely different story.
Similar in title alone, I guess.
Yeah, but the title has even been changed, and it takes place in the U.S. instead of in Australia.
Yeah.
Where, well, that's not Australia.
No, that's Australia.
Oh,
That's how they talk there.
So the Howling series was written by Gary Brandner, and he basically agreed. He's like, "Yeah, you can take the title. You can do whatever you want with it. Put me as a writing credit. I'm leaving." That kind of thing. You may know, Count Trivia may know more about that. I don't really know what's going on there. That's all I know. He was just like, yeah, sure, take the name. You guys go for it. So yeah. The Rotten Tomatoes score for this movie was 23 for the critics. The audience score was 15, which I always start to worry when the audience score is
Lower than the critics?
Yes.
Yeah,
It's
that means something horrible has happened.
something horrible. Not horrible, but horrible. Letterboxd is sitting at 2.4. I could not, for the life of me, find a Metacritic score for this movie.
Boy, he tried.
Boy, I was screaming about it. IMDb is at 3.5, and the budget for this movie was $1 million.
Wow.
Guess how much it grossed, guys? Just take a guess. Take a wild guess.
Not $1 million.
You have anything like Stephen?
300,000.
I have no idea.
Oh.
Because again, I can't find anything on this movie.
Some people seem to want to just forget this movie existed.
I think so. All right, so it was written and directed by Felipe Mora. Even though Gary Brandner is credited, he did not actually write anything for this movie.
He wrote The Howling. Words The Howling.
He wrote... There's not even a "the"
It's
in
just
front
Howling.
of
You're right. It's just Howling.
Howling 3. Howling 3. Some of the other crazy things this man has directed.
Oh, please.
Dracula Nazi Hunter, or...
I'm sorry?
Let me finish.
That's a long title, Derek.
Dracula Nazi Hunter, How I Learned to Love Christopher Lee and Drink Atomic Bombs.
Wow. That's an hour and a half movie.
Yep.
You're kidding me.
I need to watch it. He also directed I Was a Communist Werewolf.
What is happening here?
I don't know, but it kind of checks out.
Lord.
He also directed, there was one more I wanted to say, can't say that one out loud. The Hunchback Bee of Notre Dame.
Hunchback Bee, B-E-E, like a bumblebee.
Yeah, like
the
bumblebee.
Hunchback,
The Hunchback
Bee of
Bee.
Notre Dame. Hold on. When an evil bee starts a fire in Notre Dame, the ostracized Hunchback Bee of the cathedral comes to rescue of his hive.
Written by Felipe Mora and Victor Hugo.
So it's... You cannot just rip off Victor Hugo and be like, yeah, no, he helped me out.
He
Me
gave
and
him
Victor.
credit. He gave him credit.
He was really helping out
That's
Victor
so
Hugo
funny,
here.
though. I can't imagine.
I need to watch that movie.
I know. I need to see like what that even like. Do you
Are
think
you
that was
looking
like
it
a
up?
live
You're looking it up.
action?
It says animated.
Okay,
Oh.
good. I was like, that would be
From what year?
2020.
Oh, this changes everything.
This does change everything.
I cannot find it.
I don't know. Maybe he made it for himself.
I mean, maybe.
Maybe it never released. I'm kind of sad. Yeah, 2020 animation.
Oh, incredible.
All I'm seeing are a bunch of pictures of like abstract paintings.
Guys, the tagline to BEE or not to BEE. Incredible.
It looks like it was drawn with like crayon.
Oh my god.
This is incredible. He's holding.
It's Esmeralda Wait, he kind of looks like the bee from Bee Movie. He looks like Jerry Seinfeld as a bee.
You like jazz?
You like Notre Dame? You ever read Victor Hugo?
Oh man! So
one
that's
more
our-
movie.
Oh, okay, one more.
Oh, that is a lot of naked women on my screen. The Mystery of Reclining Nude was another movie he did that I thought was a funny time.
Nude.
But I should have said that one first.
Where can
before
we
The Hunchback of
find
Notre
these?
Bee.
We're being robbed of these great titles in movies I can't watch.
Sorry, The Hunchback Bee of Notre Dame, not The Hunchback of Notre Bee, which... I mean, which name is better? You take your pick.
Take your pick. Oh man.
All right. And yeah, that's really all I have for the beginning there. Do you want to read some reviews for the Howling 3?
Let's get into the reviews
Let's read some
of this.
reviews. First, I'd like to read Lex's review. Do you have a review?
Oh no! I didn't
Did you come prepared? Just kidding.
Did you do the assigned reading? The
Come on,
homework?
20 minutes ago when this movie ended, did you write a review?
So Scott Weinberg of eFilmCritic.com says, incomprehensible werewolf awfulness, but still better than part 2.
Ken Hank says, "Where kangaroos? What a concept."
What a concept.
Gotta agree.
Alex Sandell says, really, was there any point after the first? Mind you, there are 8 of these movies.
For some reason.
So somebody thought there were a couple points after the first.
And then Felix Vasquez Jr. of Cinema Crazed says, it wants to be a psychological thriller, a horror romance, a satire of horror movies, and a werewolf picture, all in one, and fails to deliver on these aspects twofold.
That's the best review that we could have gotten, honestly.
It's very deep,
It's
very
just
true.
the smorgasbord of so much going on, and we can tell you all about that in just a moment. Shall we dip into our expectations?
Oh man, we've started doing that every time.
It's a thing now.
Let's have Lex start. You took some expectations too, right?
Oh, I did.
Yes.
I would love to hear your expectations.
I'm not sure if I understood the assignment.
That's fine.
Which makes this even better.
Okay, so
Just going in cold.
Okay, after I watched the trailer, I was certain that there would be no new effects that I would see that were not featured in the trailer.
Yes.
Oh, that's a great expectation.
Yes, that's good.
Okay,
Write that down.
I'm taking notes.
I anticipated that the fake Australian accents would slip slowly.
Yep.
And then I anticipated there'd be a evil koala, which okay.
That's a great
And then
expectation.
something nasty with a pouch.
Hey, those are great.
Those
That's
are
what I wrote
great.
down.
Very specific. Love them all.
Oh man, I've been doing expectations wrong
We
this
gotta
entire
change
time.
this up. Yeah.
Where have you been?
Because mine were very broad. I just said I thought there'd be fun practical effects that will make me love this movie, but I definitely was kind of feeling the same boat where like I feel like they've given us the whole horse. I've seen all of them in the trailer. I literally just said plot that is hard to follow, just because just within the trailer there was so much nonsense happening. I'm like, there's no
So
way
much.
this can make one concise plot. There's no way. I thought there'd be acting so bad they should use it to teach classes on terrible acting.
That's good.
And then just some goofy looking werewolves from the pictures I had seen to the clips in the trailer. I'm like, they were some weird, cartoony looking wolf prosthetic animatronics, whatever you want to
So
do with
wacky.
it. So crazy. So I was kind of excited for that, kind of nervous about them. And then just a fun time for the whole family because it is rated PG-13.
So I said jokes that try way too hard. So much forced camp that you'd see a field of Boy Scouts.
You told me you wrote a joke in the very beginning. This is your...
That's the joke.
It's pretty good. Hey, I had doubts, but it was great, actually.
Thank you. Thank you for doubting me, but then coming to see the light.
Yeah, I came to see the light.
Cool prosthetics, icky gore, and I asked Isaac for more expectations, and apparently he wrote fun for the whole family because he told me to write fun for half the family, so
Yeah.
I did fun for half the family.
Fun for about half the family.
It's a good dynamic between
Yeah,
us. I like it.
exactly.
And then my final expectation was that it would really push that PG-13 rating. Maybe
Oh,
it
yeah.
shouldn't have been PG-13. Maybe it should be R.
Yeah, that's honestly a good expectation. Are we all ready to dive into this movie?
I think I'm ready to walk slowly into this movie and then maybe jump off a building into it.
Yeah.
So from the start, we get like what seems to be like they're trying to be like the Metro Goldwyn Mayer like lion roar at the beginning, but it's like a dingo with this like really elongated mouth. I think that both of you had kind of seen it and been like, that looks like it's a bit like stretched out.
It looked fake to me.
Yeah, it looked weird.
It looked like they had like actually stretched down like a plastic jaw to make it longer. But we went back and watched it again, and I don't know. It's sus.
It's pretty sus.
That's what the kids say.
So yeah, then it told us the title of the movie, but it was The Marsupials Howling 3. Like the one word above another. So I'm like, am I to understand the marsupials are presenting? Like the marsupials present Howling 3? Or did they just flip it?
You imagine you show up to like the red carpet event for this, and there's just marsupials everywhere. Marsupials in trench coats.
You got kangaroos and koalas.
I think that's it.
I know 2 marsupials.
Anybody else know any marsupials? I don't think there's any more.
That's Science Jim. He probably knows a couple of marsupials.
Oh, I'll ask
But
him.
I did enjoy, there was actually some like decent tense music right at the beginning and very 80s appropriate because this movie's from like 87, right? And I see there's yes, come in. Hello.
Yes, hello, it's me, Science Jim.
Hello, Science Jim.
I have something to tell you.
Yes, please. You have a list of the marsupials. Yes, you got our telegram.
The lower classifications of marsupials.
Okay.
Yes. Also, they're very cute. Oh my god.
Stay focused, Jim. Bring it back to us.
A possum. No, that is opossum.
Opossum, not
Yes,
a possum.
not a possum.
Opossum.
You got koalas.
Opossum.
No. Opossum. Koala. Wombats.
Wombats.
Quokkas.
How could I? Oh, a what?
Quokkas.
Quokkas?
Super gliders. And you also got macropods.
Was it? Hold on. Did you just say super gliders?
Yeah, super gliders.
Is it a super glider or is it a sugar glider?
All right.
Science Jim, I expected more from you.
Sorry, I had a little bit too much to drink this morning.
It's a super sugar glider.
I put a little bit too much super in my mimosa. Also, there is the thylacine, which is an expired one. Extinct one. Dang it, he's doing bad.
Speaking in the third person now.
Oh, yes. Which actually comes up in the movie you guys watched, and I'm out.
Bye, Science Jim. Don't come
dropped
back
the
until
mic and
next
walked
episode.
away.
Yeah, I'm surprised no one heard it.
Yeah. So to start out the movie, we get this shot of like these like indigenous people with spears around what is to be like a killed wolf.
Oh, man,
it is shot in
that looks so
1905, is what it tells us, and it's like kind of brutal. It honestly
was
seems
pretty
kind of sad. They're all
brutal.
standing there smiling at the camera while there's this like dead wolf pinned to a tree.
Yeah, and they were like kind of. It seemed like they were bullying it.
Yeah, a little
Like,
bit.
they would like laugh at
They
it
were
and
kind of like
stab it
walking
with
around
their
and
sticks.
prodding it. I don't know what this wolf did to them. Maybe the wolf definitely deserved it. Who knows?
Yeah, probably.
But what was
or
really
he was
funny,
just like the nerdy kid in class.
what was funny about it though was that it was wolf from the waist up. So
Yeah.
the legs were completely bare, naked legs, human legs, and then wolf top, wolf body.
He had the bare necessities, I guess you could say.
The bare wolf necessities. Simple bare wolf necessities. Forget about your howling and that knife.
And
That's all I
that
got.
knife,
That's
no,
all I
that
got.
spear. They had spears.
Send that spear. We'll edit that in post, right? It's fine.
Yeah, well, probably not.
And then there was a quick... I forgot this scene happened until I looked at my note right now. They quick cut to Siberia, and there's just some dude who's next to a dead body, who is running away from something from the woods to the house. Then the house is dangerous, runs back straight to the camera towards the woods and just screams right in the camera.
Yeah.
And then we never see Siberia Man again.
That was very weird.
It was very strange.
Why did that
There
happen?
were a lot of interesting choices made with the camera work on this one, and very different throughout. They were not very consistent throughout the entirety of the production.
Yeah, interesting's a way to put it.
Interesting. Yes, exactly. And then the NIA, is that what it, the National Intelligence Agents? Is that what that stands for? I can't remember.
I don't know.
There's some message that gets transported to them where it's like werewolves are attacking
Werewolves.
people. They're like, I don't know. This is something.
But then it jumps to the president, right? Doesn't it jump to the president?
It jumps to a professor who I called Professor Sharp through this entire thing.
Forgot about it.
And then later on discovered his name was not.
Now,
that.
hold on.
Yeah.
Now, hold
No,
on.
I've given you shit in the past for getting names wrong. I did that for most of the movie.
That's great. So, our avid listeners will know that I have an issue where I call the characters the wrong name the entire movie and find out at the end. So you saying you corrected yourself?
No, I didn't. I kept it Sharp the whole time. So anytime I'm talking about Professor Sharp until like 3/4 of the way through the movie. I'm talking about Professor Beckmeyer.
Okay, so I'm going to pause real quick. No one listen to this. Hey, so what you do when you do that? Because I definitely never do that.
Oh, you definitely told me how you search
So
for
you
it,
hit
and then you would
Control F, and then you
Yes.
hit Find and
Yes.
Replace.
It just was funny to me though, so I kept it anyway.
Nah, that's pretty good.
But yeah, so we meet him. So basically, yeah, they get the message that there are werewolves, and there's these two, the NIA guys who are like, I don't know about this. We should send them to the specialist. And then it's this professor who was showing the same video of the people with the spears and the wolf in the beginning.
I just really wanted to reuse it.
Really, though,
They
enjoyed
spent
that.
so much money on that shot.
The costumes and the wolf bit, you know, all of it.
And that guy's face when he was like kind of laughing at him.
The
They're like,
grainy
"Ooh, that's
effect
gold."
all over it. But yeah, so then we come to Professor Beckmeyer, who is not Professor Sharp, and he's just telling them about it, talking about how like people suspect it was a mask, but there's like
Yep.
theories around that, I suppose. This is kind of how I'm following it. There's a lot of this movie that I like
Yes.
am grasping at straws to try to figure out because I just couldn't really get it.
And it kind of it kept doing this thing where every time it would change shots or locations, it would just jolt there.
It was such a harsh transition every single
It was
time.
almost like a jump scare. And every time there would be like a static sound, like The Grudge was going to come out of your TV. And I got pretty mad.
Yeah, honestly, there's like a sound every time. Like, do you agree, Lex? Do you feel like there were definitely like way hard cuts between the plot points?
Yeah, they left no breathing room.
No,
I've
exactly.
ever
Yeah.
seen, which usually means that they were trying to cut stuff out. There
Oh.
were lines that were originally there.
You see, this is good
Interesting.
stuff that we need to know. That's very interesting.
Do you think that happens often?
I'm sure, especially with movies with
Like low budget?
bad script.
Bad.
Oh, so we're blaming the script
Oh,
now.
We found the heart at the center.
No one-
at the core of this movie. It's about the script. I don't know what this is.
Oh, we showed up here. We found a script on the ground. Where's the supervisor? Where is she?
Why are we both holding fake pipes to do this character?
Oh, mine was a walkie-talkie.
That's a walkie-talkie.
I don't know. You're just holding your hand in front of your mouth.
So yeah, very harsh cuts between every single scene. It's like as soon as someone finishes the line, the moment that sound bite ends, it is on to the next moment.
Yeah, it was wild.
So yeah, then he's talking with the president.
Out of
Which
nowhere.
He just said the president, and I assumed the president of like some club or something else. I didn't know he meant like the president of the United States.
It like popped up white text that said U.S. president or something.
I totally missed that. I was lost in that.
It's okay. It was pretty quick.
And they must be filming in the White House because the entire room they were within was some like sauna or like by the pool, and it was completely white.
Yeah, it was
Everything in the
completely
room was white.
Well, then they threw us for a loop by they looked directly at the camera.
This is the only time this ever happens in the
happened one other time?
They do look directly in the camera a couple times, but it's the only time they make a comment about it.
I swore it came up later.
Maybe it did, but that was the one where I
But
noticed.
that may have been a fever dream.
where Beckmeyer walks in, is uncomfortable talking to the president because he's staring right at the camera. I mean, oh, we're being filmed. This is weird.
It was so weird. Yeah, they're like filming a documentary.
I have no idea. It's just because it's the president, I guess, and that's why they're filming stuff.
I should have written something down about it. I was just so shocked.
Yeah, it was so crazy. It was like weird, like docu-style kind of. It was nuts. It was so stupid.
There was no handheld.
Yeah.
There was
No, yeah, exactly.
And it looked like the camera operator was just sitting on the ground.
Yeah.
For
Yeah.
some reason.
That was the
Like,
weird thing
he
too. Was
so
like it was
low.
like tilted
Yeah.
up at them
Yeah.
too. I'm like, what is the
It's
point
like,
of
but
that?
Also, why is this guy sitting on the ground, right?
It's
That's
maybe.
kind of how it felt because they spoke directly to the camera as if it was a person.
Yeah.
Wait,
And I honestly didn't understand if it was like a camera that was like in some fixture or something, if it was literally a man sitting with a camera and that's who they were gesturing to.
I have a theory.
What's your
I
theory?
already have a theory right out of the
Give
gate.
me
You
your
ready for my theory? The movie was real.
The whole thing.
The whole thing was real, and they were filming an actual documentary. But then they were like, "Holy crap! People are gonna find out. People are gonna know that this man's actually the president of the United States. People are gonna find out so much information.
Yeah, people are gonna find
make
out
it a
about,
movie."
This is the president. They're a real werewolf, so we have to make it a fake. It's all a farce now.
And that's why later on there's a plot about a fake movie set because they had to. It's like an Argo situation where they had like a fake movie set that was disguised, and it was actually a real movie set. It's crazy, right? That actually happened.
But
I
yeah,
know.
the beginning sequences of this movie are just a bunch of scenes of guys talking.
Oh, yeah.
Talking about how there's evidence of werewolves and we should find out more about that. It's basically the gist of everything that happened in like the first 6 scenes.
Yeah,
of people
it's
talking
wild.
to people about what's happening and not really doing a lot about it. But then it's in Australia.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was in Australia the whole time, because he was talking to the president, and I assume the president was not in Australia.
He definitely went to America, but it was an Australian America.
Does Australia have a president? Was it the
Does
Australian
Australia have
president?
an America? Is the question.
Yeah. And mind you, there were not a lot of Australian accents at this point either. So
No.
it's like, I don't understand, but suddenly we get like 9 different shots of that opera house that everyone knows, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
In Sydney,
Does
Australia.
it snow on the Opera House?
What does he say? What is his stupid response to
remember.
that?
He said, no, why? And then she said, just wondering.
Just wondering. That's right.
That never comes back.
I have that. Yeah, I did write. I literally just wrote, just wondering.
Just wondering.
I didn't write enough
Genius,
information about
honestly.
that.
Yeah, that line is really fraught with
Yeah.
mystery.
But so we're talking about a character that we meet here where we come into like this weird cult where they all dress like cavemen for some reason. Like it just feels very like primitive in their
That was
nature, right? They're
so
very
weird.
animalistic. So we find this girl who's sitting there looking dramatic, and then another lady comes up to her who looks like a caveman, and she's like, you need to go listen to Baloo or something like that. And she's like, that's stupid, I don't want to do that. So then she walks up to like the tribe like leader guy, I guess, and he like says, he's like, if you behave, I'll give you a Sony Walkman.
I got stuck on this.
Yeah,
I think I brought that line up a good 40 more times.
So wild. That was just like the hot item in 87, right? Everybody wanted the Sony Walkman. That's how you get people to behave, right? And then he's really gross.
Worked
He starts
on me.
like kissing on her neck a little bit, and it's disgusting. Then
I
she
hate
like
it.
knees him real quick in the groin, and then just leaves. She just runs, and
gets
nobody
out.
gets her, really. She's just gone pretty
Yep.
quick.
That's good.
And then,
good.
and
Good
then
for her.
again, talking about like scenes moving so quick between each other. She's on a bus now.
Yep.
So quick.
Instantly.
Yeah.
Like, I was under the impression she was deep in the Australian safari. Is that what it's called? Outback?
Outback.
The safari. Yes, the outback.
I love Safari Steakhouse. She's like deep into the Outback, and then all of a sudden she's on a bus. Like, it didn't make any sense.
And she's having a conversation with this priest, right? And this is one of the few quotes I found
I
on
completely
IMDb.
forgot about this.
This is nonsense to me. So starting with the priest, he goes, "Don't be afraid of me, my child. I want to help you." She goes, "I don't need any help. You should not run away from home. I don't like home." "Why, child?" And she says, "Because my stepfather tried to rape me, and he's a werewolf."
That's the second part.
And
he's a werewolf.
yeah, exactly. That's,
And he's a werewolf.
yeah, exactly. You wouldn't lead with the werewolf part. That's so crazy. But yeah.
I mean, they're both horrible
and
situations.
then nothing.
But
He
I feel
says
like having a
nothing
werewolf
else.
is
Right.
manageable.
Both are terrible. It's
Also,
bad.
spoiler alert, she's a hypocrite.
Is she a were-kangaroo?
I don't want to say anything, but why would you even bring it up?
Yeah, right?
And that's the thing for her. She does not seem to care who knows about werewolves and when. Like that does not seem to bother her whatsoever.
Do you think the original... Okay. Do you think the original title for this movie was My Stepfather is a Werewolf?
100%.
Because there's that movie, My Stepmother Was an Alien.
Yeah,
100%.
that's definitely one they pitched. They were like, "My stepfather's a werewolf." Is that anything?
Right, now
else?
listen.
Scrap it.
Greatest idea for a
Take it
movie.
off of our red string board.
And then they kept forgetting what the actual title was, which is why there's 4 different ones.
So yeah, then she's sleeping on like a park bench, and 2 creepy guys walk up to her and try to bug her. How does
why we
she
take notes.
get a music playing device? Do they offer it to her, or do they just have it on them?
I don't think she had one.
No, because then they talk about that, and then she jumps up at them and says, "Compact disc." Remember that?
Because he offers her a Walkman.
See, there you go. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
So the second person comes up to her and is offering her a Walkman.
for no reason.
But yeah, in a jolt, she snaps at them, basically, very like animalistic, right? And goes, "Compact disc."
Compact disc.
And then she's got these wonky looking contacts, right? They definitely look like, the contacts are supposed to make you look very wolf-like, but those have slits that go up and down, and those can like very easily go kind of sideways as contacts in your eyes. And it looked very
To
silly.
be honest, I didn't notice her contacts. I was too
Really?
busy looking at her teeth and laughing at the compact disc thing. I still think
What's wrong with her
that's...
teeth?
Does she have like fangs?
I don't know, maybe.
So you were looking into her eyes. See, this is where we differ, man.
Yeah.
You look into the eyes, I look
I'm like,
into the
beauty's
teeth.
in the eye of the beholder, and Derek's like, beauty is in the tooth of the beholder.
Yeah, dude, I just stare into women's teeth.
That does happen later in the movies.
Oh my gosh, it does.
So yeah, then it's the morning time. She's like looking dramatic off into the sea on a park bench, listening to music, right? Isn't that what happened? She got the Walkman from the dudes because she scared it off of them. They like ran away after she shouted compact disc at them.
I completely missed that. I don't know how I missed that.
I don't even know. Anyway, there's a dude who drives up in a car and sees her and just pulls off to the side and just starts chasing her.
Yeah, he chases her for
Like, this is not how you get a girl. Yeah, let me just start chasing. Because what am I trying to say? She runs away.
Yeah.
Of course she would. Why wouldn't you run away
Yeah, if
from
you're
this?
sitting on a park bench and a random man starts chasing you, especially if you're like from this weird cult compound thing,
Yeah.
you just escaped into real life.
You know nothing about the real world.
Like
This guy's
culture
chasing
shock.
you. That's pretty scary,
You're
right?
listening to AC/DC for the first time in your life. You're like, what is happening to my ears?
Yeah, and right out the back, her acting is oof. She's something. Yeah, what do you think?
What do I think about her acting?
Yeah.
I thought she was a master class in acting. I think that she should have
Poetry
kept
in
acting.
motion.
She quit, unfortunately.
So he basically chases her until she has nowhere else she can go. And then he's like, hold on.
like into an alleyway.
Yeah. And he's
It was
like, hold
creepy.
on, I want to give you a job. I'm working on this movie, and you'd be great for it. And not even like a background character, like the lead in this movie.
Yeah.
Like a huge role in this movie.
Wait, I thought he was... Oh, yeah. So he was the... Did he say he was the first assistant director?
Yeah, something like that.
I missed that. I don't remember what he was doing.
But he was wearing a crew shirt, which
He
you
was, yeah.
don't get those until you wrap the movie without getting fired.
Oh, see, that makes sense.
Wait, do people get fired often? Because this is like
yeah.
the third... Really?
Are you kidding?
Can we
Oh,
talk about this?
Yes.
Hey, we're taking a pause from the movie. Tell me about someone getting fired.
The movie industry is toxic.
Can it just be
Is it
over
really?
like trivial matters?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I bet.
Honestly, I work with a lot of nice people.
Okay,
so
that's
it's not
good.
that dramatic.
So you haven't had to put up with
I
that
wouldn't
much.
imagine that
Not
many
too
people are
much.
getting fired from High School Musical, the musical this year.
No, it's a very nurturing.
Very wonderful.
Place, yes.
Loving space.
Yes.
That's actually really wholesome and great. I love that.
That tracks. That
Great
makes sense.
people.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's
But-
crazy. I guess that makes sense, though. I haven't heard anything necessarily good about the film industry.
Yeah.
Just some interesting people.
Yeah,
It's
because,
gotten
like-
better, honestly.
Yeah, but I imagine like having crew shirts like that makes it so much easier for things to get leaked, information to get out that's you
Yeah.
don't want, right?
Yeah, you're on lockdown until the movie's done. Yeah, you get the shirts after.
Yeah, that totally
Not-
that tracks.
Did not trust him. From the moment he stepped up, I'm like, that's fake.
This man is abducting this woman.
Yeah, which furthers my theory when every like Marvel leak comes out. I'm like, this had to be planned, right? This had to be scripted. There's no way these things happen.
What's your theory on that?
Well, I think honestly it's super easy for information to leak out. It's
Yeah.
just I don't know why you would ever, because
Right.
you're probably gonna get caught
Yeah.
and you're gonna get sued.
Yeah, because I remember there was like a
trouble.
specific
Yeah.
moment where Tom Holland was doing like a
Right.
Facebook Live event, and he opened like a confidential package that had
Yeah.
the poster for like Avengers Endgame in it or something.
Yeah.
And then he shows the poster, then turns it around, and on the back of it it says like confidential, do not show. I'm like, that doesn't feel real to me. I don't
Yeah, it
know.
feels-
Unless, what's your stance?
I honestly don't know.
Yeah.
I've never been on something to that level.
Right.
Just, like publicity stunts are like planned. But
Because that's what it felt like to me. It felt like a publicity stunt.
I mean, Gonzo's girl? What was it called?
no, you got it.
Gonzo's girl.
Wait, I think it's just Gonzo Girl.
No, Gonzo's
Now hold on.
Wait, is it about Camilla's the chicken?
We're writing a great movie here.
Holy
Hold
crap.
on.
Patricia Arquette? I can't...
Arquette! God.
Did she play Camilla in this movie?
Coming to a theater near you, summer 2024. Gonzo's Girl.
Gonzo's
Willem Dafoe
Girl.
as Gonzo. Patricia Arquette as Camilla the chicken. Oh man. So we find out that her name is Jerboa. And now I'm gonna
No,
hold. I'm
it's
gonna
just
hold.
Jerboa.
No, it's Jerboa
No,
twice.
because she was making a joke.
Oh, maybe it was.
Because she's like, what? You have a first and last name.
Yeah,
that are
no,
the same
because he
both
tells her
first
name
name.
is like Donnie Martin,
Donnie
something
Martin.
like that, right?
Yep.
Is it Donnie Martin? So yeah, Donnie Martin, and she says you have two first names, and then he's like, "What's your name?" Jerboa. Was that a joke?
Yeah, man.
I didn't know that until right now. Did you?
Lex seems a little shocked.
It could honestly go either way.
I sincerely
true.
cannot tell. I feel like that could be her full cult given name.
Cult given name. All right.
But yeah, it's which is so. I don't know if I want to call it uncreative, but I did look up just because I was curious. I'm like, a jerboa has to be something, right?
Well, of course.
And I did find out that a jerboa is like a little rodent. It's like a hopping rodent. It's like a teeny tiny kangaroo.
When Science Jim was here, did he talk about a jerboa?
I don't think he did, but I beat him to the punch.
He's such an idiot.
He was too busy getting distracted by the cute marsupials that he
They're
didn't
so
even
freaking
notice.
cool.
They're adorable. And so is the jerboa. The jerboa is kind of adorable.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So then we get a scene of the same bus as before. I don't know if that was intentional or they just had one bus they could shoot
They had
in.
one bus.
But there's a bunch of nuns on it. And there's a little boy who's sitting there making faces at one of the nuns, and she growls at the little boy. I'm like, wait a minute, is she a wolf? And then one of you guys brought to my attention, that was the people from the cult in disguise.
I don't know.
And it just doesn't make any sense to me. I know I brought it up so many times when we were watching it, but like they were dressed like cavemen. They were dressed like they were animal, primal people, and they had full, nice nun costumes stowed away somewhere in the dirt, I assume.
We have established this.
Yes.
It is a cult, which means they have a giant storage shed somewhere. Every cult does. Theirs just happens to be a costume line.
Yeah, exactly. They were like, I thought we were supposed to use this for like, the apocalypse and keeping good like food and stuff, right? None of there's nothing in here. I just find like 100 nun costumes.
They walk in the middle of the night. The cult leader, Thyroid, what's his name? Thylo is like in there doing a little dance. He's like got just some cool that joke note in there.
So you're saying they catch him in the middle of the night and he's like dressed up as the nun, just like living his best life.
Or like Disco Stew from The Simpsons or something. He's just like going crazy.
So now we find out that she's being hunted by the people from her cult, right? By these, it looks like 3 of them at least, like in nun costumes.
Yeah.
That is their disguise to go out into the regular world.
Because why not?
Yeah, why not? Because listen, they let nuns in anywhere. It just works.
Yeah, and most people, they'll have none of that, so they'll leave you alone.
It's none of your concern what I'm doing here.
All right, none more jokes.
So then they're on the set for the movie, right? And again, we find out she's like a main part of this. She has a quick conversation with the director where he's basically like, "You're gonna do this scene here. Can you act like an animal?" And with the biggest smirk, she goes, "Yes."
That's
She's a fucking wolf person.
She's so weird.
He's like, "Oh yes, you're perfect." Mind you, this guy looks like he's supposed to be some either knockoff or like caricature of Alfred Hitchcock. It is so crazy to me.
He was like the douchiest version of Alfred Hitchcock you could ever imagine.
So funny to me. But yeah, then on the set, she finds out it is a horror movie. It's called Shapeshifters, which is on his shirt. Shapeshifters Part 8 is what I think it was. Because on the front of the shirt, it said Shapeshifters. On the back, it said Part 8.
Yep.
And after we record this episode, I'm definitely going to go design a shirt and make that.
It probably exists.
We're gonna find it for 100%. But on the set is a guy dressed as a wolfman, and he looks more like Lon Chaney Jr., like old school wolfman design. And she turns to Donnie. She's like, "That's not what they look like. They don't look like that."
Yeah,
and she keeps
like wolf-splaining all these
she
werewolves.
just keeps doing that, right? And then
that's
Donnie's
it.
like, "Hey, I'm gonna show you a real movie." And then it looks like the vibe of the movie that it cuts to, again, quick cut to it, makes it feel like it's like a horror porn movie.
I'm not convinced it wasn't.
It even felt like there was some like bow chicka bow wow music underneath it.
Absolutely.
It was so strange. And so I was like, okay, so they're at a theater. I didn't know that at first. It just started showing us a different movie all of a sudden.
Well, and also when she met the director, he said she was gonna get like just like have a big orgy basically.
Oh yeah, it was
nice
gross.
words.
Yeah, and she was like totally game. She's like, "Hey, no problem, whatever."
Yeah.
She seems very just like passive, go with the flow, anything
She was kind of
goes.
excited about it, and then she was like, "They're like, why are you laughing?" And she's like, "Because of the werewolves."
Yeah, exactly.
Like, what?
And yeah,
It's
Hitchcock
agreed to have sex on camera, and you're just like, whatever.
Hitchcock was like, "Oh yeah, I like a girl with a little fire to her," or something like that. Make some dumb line like that.
I feel gross now. Thank you.
Sorry, but yeah. So we're at the theater. Donnie is showing her a movie because he found out she's never seen a movie before because she's from some weird town named Flo that he's never heard of.
Mm-hmm.
But
good old Flo.
Then in the movie that they're watching, that is not a porno is
that did not porn.
that didn't. We just get it's one room. It is a lady bringing like a tray to. She's like a nurse tending to this man in a bed, and we get this long sequence of these like growing boils on his face.
Yeah, that was weird.
And it's that for a long time. Just her dropping this platter in her hands and screaming and screaming. His face is distorting and shaking and stuff. And then like like 40 seconds into that, oh, he's turning into a werewolf. It took so long to get to that point.
So long.
And then
It was ridiculous.
And then from then on, you get your typical, like, oh, werewolf transformation. You get, like, the really slow, like, elongating snout kind of thing. The claws growing out of the fingers.
Yeah.
It was, like, a fun scene. Definitely doesn't live up to that of, like, an American Werewolf in London kind of stuff.
I felt this is one of the scenes in the movie that I felt they were trying to be comedy too much. So this movie is labeled as a horror comedy, right? Or a comedy horror even. And if that actually matters.
Yeah.
Our theory is that it matters.
It matters
I don't
to
know
us.
if it actually matters. What? Actually, hold on. Do you think that is a thing?
You mean-
So, like, in movies, like, if it's a horror comedy or a comedy horror, do you think that the order of those matters? Do you think
does
that actually makes a
distinction
difference?
make much of a difference in it?
I think it does, but I still think it's subjective.
Yeah.
It
Absolutely.
makes a
Tracks.
huge difference to me, but it might be the opposite for you.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, no, I mean, I think that it matters greatly. Because, like, when we're looking at movies or something, if we see something in horror as the end of a bunch of words, we're probably not going to watch it.
Yeah.
Because it's not going to fit inside that horror genre as well. Right? Because maybe horror was an afterthought.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Like, with this one, I feel like comedy was definitely their prime objective, and horror was just kind of a means to an end.
Yeah, so how much, like, this was a pretty long transformation scene, probably one of the longest in the movie that showed us so much of it because it was the very first. Well, like, how much, like, do you think, like, budget-wise went into that scene there, that bit there? Do you think that was, like, a ton of the budget there for all these effects and prosthetics and animatronic kind of stuff? Like, probably a huge chunk of this?
Based on, how long they spent looking at the guy's boils.
Yes.
I think they spent a lot of money on that.
Yes.
They were getting their money's worth.
We've made jokes about
We
that
have,
before,
yeah.
where like there's like a practical bit that looks really cool. We're like, wow, that's neat, and they keep cutting to it, like they like as much screen time as possible for this, and like it really feels like they like put a lot of money or effort and time into this thing. Like we got to get our money's worth out of that, right?
But I have a different theory.
Oh.
But I might have to, we might have to revisit this because we're going through. I'll revisit this.
Okay,
Yes.
okay.
But I have it.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Please remind us of
Yes.
your theory. Don't
Okay.
let us forget it.
I
Yes. The way to do that is to tap Isaac and say, I have a theory. I'm very good at this.
He does it
but
all the
my
time.
theories are based in ridiculousness.
But yeah, so right in this scene, I get one of my expectations for me where you just get this cartoon-looking wolf. It looks like, it's almost like Goofy. It is so...
It really did.
Like-
It looked like Roadrunner that had its head smashed
Yeah,
in.
exactly. Like it was weirdly stretched out that way, where it was
Yeah.
like bulging at the end and at the head, but like the snout was kind of narrow. It was
Yeah,
so
it
weird
was
to me.
so wonky.
It like almost reminded me of like in Beetlejuice when he takes his face and
Yeah!
stretches it out like
Yes!
that. Except
Yes!
not as great as that.
What?
But it was fun to me. I did enjoy this scene a lot.
the
It
scene was great.
incredibly campy. It was like making fun of itself, right? So I think
Yeah.
for that sake, it was very enjoyable, right?
Yeah, it was fun.
And then the two of them are just in a bed. And,
Yeah.
and again, I think
Quick cut.
It goes without saying that every single time we jump from one point to the other, that is how fast they go through it in the movie. That scene is done. Okay, cool. That movie, he transferred into a werewolf.
We're
now,
spending more time.
yeah, we spent more time talking about the stuff than they actually did.
Yeah.
But quick cut, they're in bed now, and they are sopping wet.
Why?
They are soaked.
Why did this happen?
I don't understand.
I need to talk to someone right now. I am upset.
It feels
with
like
so
it is to
moist.
try to drive the point that, oh, the two of them just had sex. But, like, they are way more wet than they should be for that kind of activity.
I think they turned the heater up.
Maybe.
That's the only thing.
Yeah, exactly. They had to do it in, like, a sauna or something, right?
Lex made the joke. She's like, it was in their contract. Was that you're
He
like,
looks better when he's glistening.
I look better when I'm glistening. Yes, that's perfect.
oh, I'm not glistening as much. Spray me.
He's kind. He's creating jobs for people. There's got to be someone to hold the spray bottle.
Yeah, someone's getting paid $3 an hour to spray him with a
it's
spray
great.
bottle every hour.
What I loved about this sequence, though, is them like kind of talking to each other, cuddling sweaty in bed. Is there's an a cappella cover of Bad Moon Rising?
God!
underneath
Because you
it.
can't watch a werewolf movie without Bad Moon Rising.
Yeah, either Bad Moon Rising or Blue Moon.
Yes,
Like, those two
yes.
songs have to be in every werewolf movie, especially every werewolf movie in the 80s, this time frame.
Because I think Bad Moon Rising was actually the only song that existed during this time.
Yeah,
Right? Is
there
that
was
right?
only one song.
Yeah, that was
and it
the only
Bad
song.
Moon Rising.
Yeah, okay.
So yeah, they changed it up. They did an a cappella version of it this time, and that's fine.
I dug it.
And then, they're sleeping, or the girl is sleeping, Jerboa is asleep, and Donnie, that's his name, he comes over and he's like, just just like checking out her body while she's sleeping, I guess, and he finds like what looks like a C-section scar at the bottom of her belly, and I was like, okay, so did she have a baby? I didn't really understand.
I'm now realizing that wasn't a C-section scar.
Well, yeah, we know that now.
No, but I am now
realizing.
realizing.
At the time, I didn't understand.
I, Derek, am now realizing.
We gotta hold on to that information now. We have to sit on this egg. And I just wrote again, why are they so wet? It was worth writing about twice.
I'm not going to sit on the egg because they're mammals and mammals don't lay eggs. Science Jim told me that.
Very good, very good. Another jarring cut to a different scene. It feels like there are two different movies happening here.
At least.
There's the movie with Donnie and Jerboa, that's happening. And then we got back to Beckmeyer. That's the one that I thought was Sharp. Him and actual Professor Sharp are just having more conversations. It wasn't even that interesting to really talk about. But Derek mentioned every scene that Beckmeyer is in feels like it's like a Monty Python sketch.
Oh my god, yeah.
Because he's got this kind of like British accent kind of going on.
It was not Australian, that's for sure.
Certainly not Australian.
As a American man who has no like expertise whatsoever, I can tell you that this was not Australian.
At this point, none of them in this movie have an Australian accent. It's stupid. It's nuts to me.
Yeah, it was wild. I think there were maybe 2 characters in the whole movie.
Yeah, there was one later on, and we'll talk about his accent and where it goes. But yeah, I don't know, something about every scene with Professor Beckmeyer just feels like on the cusp of like being a comedic sketch bit, you know?
It really did. And it didn't help that the man, Beckmeyer, looked like an Australian John Cleese. Like, if you were to buy John Cleese on Wish.com, that was Beckmeyer.
Yes, absolutely. It was great. But then, so I was able to get 2 bullet points of notes in that scene before we're back to another thing. That was one thing constant throughout this entire movie. It was so hard to keep consistent notes. Yeah. Just because keep like interesting enough notes. Because we would go to a scene for 5 seconds, then be back to another one. I'm like, okay, I guess that one didn't matter. I'll go right about this other scene now. It was wild to me. But yeah, so now we're back to the movie set. Yep. And it is a scene where Jerboa is getting like strangled by the Wolfman.
Oh yeah.
And it's just her screaming with the Wolfman pretending to strangle her, and it looks like he's just giving her like a massage from behind. It doesn't really work.
This was something that concerned me because there was one point where she was like, "Oh, stop." And then you were like, "That probably actually happened."
Oh, yeah.
Did you say that?
Yeah, I said...
You said that.
It just felt very real because she started screaming before he got to her.
Yeah.
And she stopped. She's like, no, sorry, we have to do that one again. Like, something about it felt so authentic in her delivery of that.
I interpreted that as like she was actually getting choked.
No. The opposite. Because he hadn't even touched
Which I'm sure
her
it does.
So, but there was something about, like, how her acting was not incredibly believable before this point, but when she delivered that line, it felt like something a real person would say. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
but it worked, right? So, like, that's something they can use. Yeah. And it really felt that way, honestly.
Back into it.
But yeah, so yeah, they do, like, 6 takes of this, and the director's just like, what does he say? He says, cut, 2 seconds, action. They just keep going, screaming back to back to back. But what's really funny is while he's watching the scene, he's sitting in a little director's chair, and in the shots where he says cut and action, it's close up on his face. He's definitely not sitting in that chair.
No, yeah.
He is absolutely standing up.
In and out.
It was really funny. But then, after they finish filming the scene, they're at the rap party.
Oh, yeah.
So fast cut to that. He just found her. They just filmed a scene, and now they're partying about it. Now the movie's over.
How do I know it was a rap party, though? They didn't all have their shirts on.
That's right. Yeah, they didn't get their shirts at the end.
No one in the history of the universe has ever had a costume rap party.
Yeah.
That is not a thing.
Because they were dressed like it was Halloween.
Yeah, they were.
Like, Donnie was dressed like a vampire. He was dressed like Dracula. And then what was Hitchcock wearing? He was wearing like some gold chain or something like that. Douchebag. It was so stupid.
He just dressed up
as a douchebag or dressed like himself?
Yeah, he went as himself to the party. I'm still convinced that they told the crew to just go to a party as their favorite costume. And they're like, we'll just film it.
They'll just pick something, right? But yeah. So it is at this point that we discover flashing lights can trigger the wolf transformation. Because Jerboa's sitting there with all these flashing party lights and she's starting to freak out. And for some reason takes Donnie, like, just on the other side of this wall that they're on and starts to, like, try to have sex with him.
Yeah, because when you have sex with a werewolf, Isaac...
Does that just stop the process?
It slows it down. See, there's something about the endorphins rushing to the bodily.
Can we bring Science Jim back? I don't know if I like this guy's energy.
He's not available because this isn't true.
Because it's bullshit. So they're having some sex to like some wild saxophone music too.
Oh yeah, dude, it was kind of funny. It was a bop.
Yeah, they were
having some crazy sex. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I was saying.
But it's just I can't wrap my head around this rap party. And then the nuns show up.
Yeah.
So they leave or something like that. They run away. Oh, they run away, and then we get this like. For far too long, they start using like this fish eye lens. It's kind of like doing like a monster POV kind of shot of her just like running through the streets of Australia.
Yeah,
it's really funny. She like runs down a street, runs into a convenience store, I think it's a convenience store. Runs through, does like a U-turn, runs out the other door, and that's it. Just one quick detour into the store, just to get more footage. I guess I don't really know what the purpose was of it.
They were just really proud of that.
But it's like sickening. It's like way too much use of this kind of stuff. It was way too much.
But then when the nuns show up, they don't look like nuns.
No, yeah, so they show up to the party. Yeah. So like Donnie and Jerboa have left now. The party's still going strong though. The nuns show up.
And they look like, Little Red Riding Hood, right? You know when the wolf dresses up as the granny? Mm-hmm. That's what they looked like. Just in nun costumes.
They just had this like their nun costumes with this like fleshy wolf face.
Yeah, it's gross.
Terrible. And they're like laughing because Alfred Hitchcock, he opens the doors and he's like, "Oh, you guys look great. Welcome to the party." And they start laughing, and they're laughing like full jaw movement, so you can see that the prosthetic like opens and closes.
You can see the plastic. It was so bad.
It was just so weird. But then they just walk into the party, and then 3 seconds later, everyone vacates the building because they're like, "Oh no, the werewolves are killing people." But it seems like everyone made it out okay.
Yeah, they're fine.
I didn't know who got killed in this situation.
I don't think anyone got killed.
Yeah.
I think they walked in and they're like, "Ooh, this is flesh, not costume."
And what's funny
Run
is
away.
they all walked out. They all walked out like you do when you're at school and they do like a fire drill.
Yes!
Where it's like,
it was a wolf drill!
Everyone get to the field and everyone's like sitting there plugging their ears as the drill is like the fire alarm is
They're all
going
meeting
off.
at the flagpole. Oh my gosh, where's Jerboa?
There was no urgency in these people running out of this building. They were like mostly shuffling out. It was so funny. But then, once that's done, cut back. Suddenly, Jerboa has been hit by a car.
Oh my god, yeah.
And I looked at everyone in the room like, okay, did anybody see her get hit by a car? Did I miss this somehow?
No.
And I think it's because it was the fisheye lens, and so you could only see the fish part. You didn't see the part where she's getting hit.
Yeah, but you should have at least done a tilt
fall over.
Oh, that would have been so terrible, but so funny.
With the sound effect of a car.
Yes.
So
yeah, exactly. Like and then the camera tilt to the side. That would have been great.
It would have been just miles better than nothing.
Oh, so much better than
Why nothing?
Literally showing us nothing. Yeah, because suddenly she's been hit by a car, and then Donnie comes up to her, and he's like, "Oh no, I love you.
I love you."
Why? Why do you love her? Just because she's a woman that
hour.
Slept with you? Like, what? I don't understand.
I still stand by my theory that he's never had sex with anyone until this woman.
He knows nothing.
Which is why
anything.
her furry kangaroo abdomen is not an issue to her.
Yeah, they've spent no time establishing any kind of connection between these two people besides he is a boy and she is a girl, and that's all it takes, I guess.
Yeah, I guess.
It was just I was bothered by that, but yeah, because and that's the thing that happens in a lot of like bad horror movies, right? Like ones that are rated so poorly. It's just like they don't feel the need to give you any more than that, right? They're like, fill in the gaps. It makes sense. He's a boy, she's a girl. Can I make it any more obvious? You know,
he was a boy. She was a girl. Can I make it any more? Is that what you were doing?
He was a assistant director. She was a wolf girl.
She was a wolf girl.
Can I make it any more obvious?
Full moon and sky. No, okay.
So then they bring her to the hospital, and there's like 6 different doctors inspecting her, and they're inspecting that scar that's on her stomach. And it was at this point that Emily actually just like shouted out, they're like, "Oh my god, it wasn't a scar, it was a pouch!"
Sorry that I spoiled that for you.
Because I completely forgot that the tag of this movie was the marsupials. Completely lost that.
Okay, never mind. I won't admit that I just realized that.
Yep.
It's fine.
Uh-huh.
I've said it like 20 times.
So it's not a scar, it's a pouch. Much like a kangaroo, or the koala, or the kooka, or the whatever the wombat, that was another one. See, we're learning things today, thanks to Science Gym.
Science Gym. Available for all your parties.
Not to be confused with Slim Jim.
No, he's a rapper.
So then Jerboa's having this like awful nightmare while she's like concussed because of the car crash, which by the way, she had a concussion, and then after the scene she was fine.
Yeah, that's true.
But she has this wild nightmare of like a bunch of like weird editing of like crazy shots, the camera moving around so wild, but then it's a shot of her in bed with Donnie, and this like alien pops up from the pouch in her
It
stomach.
looked like a mini E.T.
Yeah, it was nuts. It was all like covered in like little guts bits and stuff, and it's just sitting there, head tilting side to side, and just screaming. She's screaming. The camera's going nuts.
Oh
it was,
God.
and then I think like Donnie's even like laughing at her too. Like
Yeah.
it was kind of a wild sequence. And then she wakes up and
She's awake.
Yeah. Then I think they sedate her or something like that.
Oh my God.
And then as at this point, I think, was it you that noticed or was it Emily? Somebody noticed that Flo, the town that she's from, is wolf backwards.
I mean, obviously, you didn't notice. You couldn't
Again, just real creative writing here. You
That's
got
super
Jerboa
creative.
and Flo.
I mean,
I'm glad you made sense of it, because at first I'm like, that's not a very fun name for this weird cult town, just Flo.
I heard it and I spent like the next probably 50. How many hours was this movie? 18?
90.
I spent the next like 7 hours of the movie trying to figure out what it was.
So then the Professor Beckmeyer, he's leaving because he was at the hospital. He's like, I want to find out more about them. There's a whole species. Now we have evidence of them, right? He's leaving the hospital, and then the 3 nurses, who are not wolves anymore.
Who did not wolf.
Who did not wolf. They just like casually stroll on into the hospital, and then we just see the destruction that they caused.
Oh, yeah.
They just wreaked a streak of chaos.
These nuns were nothing to be wary
to
of. Wait.
Hold on. There's got to be a better way
Yeah,
to
there's
do
a better.
that.
Okay,
Hold on.
sorry. Strike that. Reverse it. These nuns were none of your business. Nope, that's not it. These nuns were not your mama's nuns.
These nuns were not none to worry about.
No, that
This is
wasn't it.
nonsense. This is
No,
nothing.
I got
This is
nothing.
nonsense.
This is nun thing.
Hey?
And now I'm just kind of sad. We
So
have
the
a really
nuns
good joke
killed
potential.
So many people in this hospital. And you notice they did not look like they were dead, though,
No,
right? All of them were breathing, blinking.
Blinking. The guy at the end, it looked like he was like balancing himself on a chair. About to fall over.
I'm sure
love
that's
that.
probably a big part of like looking into like the continuity of things as a script supervisor, right? Is like making sure dead bodies look dead, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just supposed to like be a second pair of eyes for like anything that's wrong, which is way too much responsibility.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Especially in this movie. I just feel like, I mean, just...
Did you? Okay, now I know you can't necessarily talk about things that happened on set, but were you there in Hereditary when they did like death scenes and stuff?
Yeah.
Wow.
Ooh. So like you had to make sure people looked dead, kind of.
Yes, let's see.
Well, being decapitated makes it pretty easy.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
was easy. That was just, yes.
Spoilers for Hereditary, I guess.
Super dead. I'm not going to tell you who, but
Someone is very dead.
Super dead.
No, it's fine. You can spoil it.
Yeah, that was just a dummy. So dummies are great.
Yeah,
Dummy's a dummy.
dummies are the best actors to work with.
That's a really convincing dummy.
Which part?
The child.
The bottom half or the top half?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, take your pick.
That's crazy though. Like,
Yeah.
I guess it kind of takes you out of it though, right? Like it's hard to look at that and be scared, or was
that
it?
was one of the funnest shoots of my life.
Really?
We were all like laughing and having a good time.
That's so funny to me. That's such a
So-
horrific scene
wait a
that
minute.
probably haunted so many people.
Yeah.
So something I
Behind
wake up
the
at night
scenes,
thinking about.
Everyone is like laughing.
Yeah, even the little girl, she was having a great
Well,
time.
because I'm sure shooting something like that is a lot of fun, right?
Yeah, we were up till like 4 a.m.
Oh,
Oh,
man.
out in the mountains. It was super fun.
That's so neat.
I'll tell you. So you know the gravesite.
Mhm.
That was on my way to one of my old jobs,
Mhm.
and I passed by it when I watched that movie, and then I found out it was there, and I realized I drive past it every day. That wasn't okay with me. Like that wasn't cool, man. I didn't like that.
And now you know, everyone filming that scene was like having a blast,
They're like,
laughing about it. We're going to traumatize people.
Yeah.
That's so
You're
I'm
funny.
sure it's not the intention, unless it is.
I think it was. 100%.
That's incredible. That makes it
Traumatize
so
America.
much better.
That's
No, I
crazy.
can't
We're
speak
here to
for him,
traumatize
but-
America.
Yeah.
That's what's on the cruise shirts, actually. It says Hereditary, and then on the back it says, let's traumatize,
Traumatize
America.
America. You know, don't give Ari that idea because he will do that.
That's fantastic.
Share my trauma with the world.
Yeah.
So the nuns have killed so many people. And it was kind of funny because I made a comment about how there wasn't a lot of blood around these people. They were just like bodies laid around. And then right after I said that, there was like one ketchup spray around one person. And I remembered, oh right, this movie is PG-13.
Yes.
I forget sometimes the limitations of such a thing. But yeah, there was like one little blood splatter next to one person. But then yeah, they killed nearly everyone in this hospital and they got Jerboa. They're on the bus. She's knocked out. They're just Job well done.
Job well done.
Yeah, it's kind of nuts to me. And I kind of would have liked to see that scene, you know,
Yeah.
have the nuns come like fuck up a hospital. That would have been kind of fun to watch. Probably very expensive though.
Yeah.
I guess I haven't thought about that.
Yep.
Now I know things. Now I have this information in my head. It's just like the scene in Maximum Overdrive where we found that whole neighborhood that was like desecrated by all the technology.
Oh yeah, it probably would have been super expensive to show technology
Yeah.
killing people.
Absolutely, all like the
Money.
robotics it would take to like for the lawnmower that has to mow
Yeah.
over people.
And then you have to find people who want to die because acting doesn't happen.
exactly, it has to be real. It has to be raw. So then after this, the two professors, it's Professor Sharp and Professor Beckmeyer, for some reason the two of them are interrogating the boyfriend Donnie, and they're asking him about the sex. And they're like, "Did you have sex with her?" He's like, "Yes." Like, no
Yes.
problem.
Duh,
They're like,
idiot.
"Was it normal?" They're like, how was it? He's like, "It was normal." He's such weird dialogue
It's
here.
so stupid.
But then they're like, there are signs of pregnancy there, and you could very well be the father of this baby. Like days after the fact, you know?
It just moves so fast, you know.
Yeah, and then I just wrote here, I'm so lost at where the plot is heading. I don't really understand, but Cult Flow is something. They're having some crazy ritual. They've got this picture, like a headshot of this ballet lady.
Oh my God, we're
in a
just there?
fire. Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah,
I'm feeling the
man.
same way I felt when I was watching this movie. Is this where we paused and it had only been a half hour?
It is so long, and it's only an hour and 40 minutes.
so ridiculous.
Yeah, we can try to pick up the pace here because there's so much to get through.
There's
this
a lot we
movie.
could skip through
Yeah,
too.
honestly. But yeah, so there's a bit where they're doing some ritual thing. They're all chanting around a fire, which has the headshot of this ballerina, this Russian ballerina, and then a sketch of like Thilo, the main head guy of this cult, right, who was a creep in the beginning.
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't know, like, can they turn people into wolves from a distance? I wasn't quite sure what to expect from that. Then we cut to the actual Russian ballerina, where this dude is going full dentist on her mouth, just inspecting it.
Yeah.
You can relate to this guy. Beauty's in the teeth of the beholder, because he's just
That's what you meant.
scouring her
Yeah,
mouth.
but he was like rubbing her teeth with his thumbs.
So strange. But yeah. It's like,
Why would you do that?
Looking at her teeth, looking at her eyes, he's like, I think you're okay to go out and be a ballerina. You're not going to transform. So I guess he's with her. The two of them know each other in the situation.
But then he goes out, and guess what?
guess what?
She does it.
She does, yeah. What's funny is though, they make it a big deal about like, you can't, like, you're not in the right headspace to go out and do a performance right now. It's a rehearsal.
Yeah.
There's nobody in the audience.
Yeah, it's just the two guys.
Yeah,
Just
exactly.
Buck-
The only one in
Buckerstein.
costume is the ballerina, whose name is Olga, by the way. They have they're
One
very
Russian name.
Slim pickings for Russian names,
Yeah,
I
no.
guess. And Olga was the one they went with. But it was a very interesting transformation scene because what happened is she was doing like this like spin, right?
Yeah.
And every time she spun around, she was a bit more transformed.
It was cool.
Well,
I
it's
really liked it.
I enjoyed it, but I disliked the way it started. Was like her first turn, they just put like a bunch of really long strands of hair on her face.
Yeah, that's true.
It was an interesting choice on that.
Her eyebrows just grew really, really, really fast.
But yeah, then yeah, she starts to transform further and further, and it was a pretty fun transformation, I think.
That's awesome.
Did she kill everybody? I can't remember.
I don't. Did you?
It's a blur.
I literally none of us can remember. The most fun about
That
the
silence
scene,
was genuine. We all have no
the
idea.
most fun about that scene was just the transformation. I cannot recall if she killed people.
I think she just attacked someone.
I think she attacked the main like dancer guy that was dancing with her, like her dance
Yeah,
partner in
yeah.
that scene, right? But that was about it. So now we have a Russian werewolf in Oz. You've heard of an American werewolf in London, an American werewolf in
stole my
Paris,
joke.
and now we have a Russian werewolf in Oz. I was
stole my
gonna
joke.
give you credit.
No,
It's
that's my
your
joke.
joke. It was a great joke.
People laughed at that joke. Crowds cheered. I just can't-
People, mountains were moved for that joke.
Rainbows appeared for that joke.
So then I don't understand. They've set up like this like hospital scene with her in it, right? I don't understand, again, because this movie jumps so hard from scene to scene. I can't tell if they set up shop in the theater or they moved her to a hospital, but they're now got her hooked up and trying to ask her
Yeah.
questions. Then the other guy shows up as the werewolf, the dude that was inspecting her teeth.
Right,
is now
yeah.
a full-blown wolf, just pops up behind them and just starts attacking Beckmeyer, I think.
Yep.
And doesn't do a lot of damage. Like, gets his neck a little bit, not that much changes. And then the girl changes too. She starts to transform. You see the nipples of the
see
wolf.
6 boobs.
There are 6 boobs, so it is like atomically
Atomically?
anatomically.
I mean, yeah, if these were like radioactive kangaroo werewolves, then it would be
I
atomically
mean, if these
active.
boobs get you feeling some kind of way, you know.
We could power an entire city with these boobs.
But for the second time in this movie, she transforms and she's wolf only from the waist up. Her legs were still the same.
I thought this has been established, Isaac.
Yeah.
Are you having an issue?
No, it's just strange. Because the man wolf, he had full body. He was fine.
No, but men are just normally hairy.
But then the best part of the movie happens. I can't remember which one of them. I think it was the girl, because I think they shot the man wolf. He was dead now. But then she turns into a wolf, and she attacks a dude, and somehow we find, they must have been in the hospital, because she throws him out from what must be the top story of this hospital.
Yeah, so she grabbed his body and ran up to the top. You didn't see this, but it happened.
Because they skipped that scene.
They skip everything.
Yeah, it cost too much to get to have the wolf prosthetic running up the stairs, you know. The hair kept getting caught in the doors and ripping off, you know.
They ended up having to make 3 more suits.
She was sweating it all off, you know.
They eventually just turned her into a real werewolf because it was cheaper at that point.
Yeah, exactly. They called up some shaman that helped out with that. But so then they throw this dummy from the top floor of this building, and it falls for no joke. We timed this.
We went back
11 seconds. This dummy falls from the top floor.
Now I don't know. 11 seconds doesn't sound like a lot, but in the course of your life, 11 seconds is
11
really
seconds
long
I won't
time.
get back. That's 22 seconds I won't get back because we went back to watch it.
And you know, I did watch it again.
Spent.
It was the funniest thing I've ever seen in my life.
I was roaring with laughter. I loved it so much. And they like cut the fall a little bit too, so it made it seem like they would cut to a shot where it was a little further up, so it would extend. So it was a much longer.
It was probably in reality a 3-second fall, but my guy was falling for 11 seconds.
It was just incredible. I loved that shot.
Was
that
so
was my
funny.
favorite kill in the whole movie. It was so incredible to me.
Isaac, it wasn't a kill. It was a fall.
It was a fall.
Yeah.
I take the fall.
I take the fall. Xanadu? Anybody?
So then we go to Cult Flow. That's where we find out Flow is wolf backwards.
I can't hold it in anymore.
Yep.
Cult Flow sounds like a menstrual company or something. Like, I don't know. Like menstrual cups or something.
When they say like, I got a visit from Aunt Flo, right?
Yeah, it's like
got a visit from Cult Flow.
But it's like,
which sounds more accurate. Against your will, you know.
That's true.
I have no autonomy over my body in this cult that is my own.
Very true.
Oh man, my
yes,
joke
thank you. Speaking as a man, I can't say a lot on that.
I can vouch.
You can vouch. I just feel like it's like an infomercial from like the 90s. It's like 1-800-CULT-FLOW. Call now. I don't know why.
For the price of 1 Cult Flow, you get 2. You get the bonus expansion.
16 items total, or whatever.
It's a $100 value.
$100 value.
We've watched way too many of those commercials. But they meet this crazy looking dude. I wrote his name later. It's like Kendi, I think is his name. Yeah, Kendi, Kendi. Like jump scares the two of them.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
And he goes, good eye. He's like, put another shrimp on the bobby. He just says the most Australian thing in what sounds like a very forced Australian accent. But they come to the sign is up there. It says Flow, backwards it says Wolf. They meet 2 people. It's an old man and then Kendi who's there. And I don't understand where the rest of the people are. Are they trying to hide them? I don't really know what's happening there.
Dude, I don't know.
Yeah.
This whole thing was a mess.
It was pretty stupid to me.
There's like a lady running in the background screaming.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Like way off in the distance of what looks like this ghost town, there's a lady who runs in a red dress who was Olga.
Yes.
Olga was the one.
Oh, that was Olga.
Yeah, because she was in her
I
ballet
missed
outfit,
that.
right? I made that connection right now because she was the only one in the movie with a red dress.
Yeah.
Until she had that's a spoiler. Sorry. I don't want to spoil this movie
That's
for
a big
anybody.
one, too. We got a whole...
That was a big one.
Yeah. So then we cut to the whatever, they're kind of torturing Jerboa, something like that. She's been kind of taken in. And then they're all doing some kind of ritual. I can't even remember what it was. I think Olga's making out with the main leader, Thylo.
They were just like the ritual what I could parse.
I think they were eating something, right? They were all in a horde around
I thought
something.
they were getting married.
Yeah, they were like getting
Maybe
That's
something
what
like that.
That's what I thought. They were
then-
like falling in love or something.
But then just as easy as the first time, Jerboa leaves again. And she goes for a roll in the hay, I guess, because she finds some enclosed space that has a bunch of... That's a great movie. That has a bunch of hay in it and just starts to give birth.
Okay, yeah, but I did not think she was giving birth. I thought she was having some alone time.
It is the grossest.
And I felt uncomfortable watching it.
It is the grossest sequence because you see like from in between her legs, this little head kind of pop up. I'm like, I don't want to see that much of this girl.
But it was like a rodent. Like it was a small little rodent baby
which
coming
was
out of her.
Kind of cute. It was a little bit. It was cute
because I was eating food.
Oh no!
And when I took a big bite out of some chicken nugget that was a little too soft, I'm just saying, and it was a little too gooey, and I look up at the TV, and what's popping out of this woman's legs but this gooey little creature?
It's nasty.
I almost threw up immediately.
It's a gross sequence, and then she's got like fur covering most of her body, right? So then what she does is she like licks her hands and starts to flatten out the fur in a path leading it from down there to the pouch.
Down there?
Down under.
Oh, you cook it! No!
From down under.
I hate you. I'm done.
So from down under to the pouch, and then it lives in there, and she like kind of she like lifts it up and looks at it in there. It's all cozy and cute. It's
I hated it so much.
It looks so damn cozy though.
Kind of sexual though.
Yes.
Like it was all like the way it was shot, the lighting, the sounds. It was gross.
Yeah,
to say the least.
So then we cut. Now Donnie is in a cave, some random cave. I don't know where he found a cave. And then Jerboa is there. She finds him, and he's something about like, "How did you find me?" She's like, "I didn't have to find you. I sensed you. I can sense you." And he's like, "I love you. Nothing will ever separate us again." And then he's suddenly cool with the fact that his girlfriend is a wolf lady who has a pouch and a baby inside of it now.
I'm still convinced he doesn't know.
I think he's just an idiot.
He is an idiot because
he's
he
just
says
the dumbest man.
He like smirks at her and says, "Werewolves don't exist," but she has a freaking baby werewolf kangaroo thing.
Yeah.
And it's yours.
It doesn't make any sense. So then the
So
next
dumb.
important plot point, because at this point we can skip a lot of garbage that just keeps happening. Just so much nonsense happening in an hour and a half movie. It's crazy to me. Professor Beckmeyer, not Sharp, wants to protect the wolves. He starts getting like he's soft for these wolves, you know?
Yeah.
Or he's hard for one of these wolves.
A winga.
Because what? Was that supposed to be Bazinga
Shut
and
up. Move on.
Awunga?
Yeah, that's what's his name from the Last Bang Theory?
Sheldon?
Yeah, Sheridan.
Sheridan.
It's Sheridan from the Bang Theory.
Shondon. So we get a scene where they're doing some kind of like werewolf lie detector thing on Olga because they've got her hooked up with all these electrodes on her face and stuff. And there's just a weird moment where Beckmeyer gets real close to her face and like almost kisses her.
So close.
And that is the only thing to establish that he's got feelings for her now.
Yeah, he's into her.
Meanwhile, she's still very much in love with Thylo, the man she's like basically brainwashed into loving.
Yeah, the
Very
leader
strange.
of the cult flow.
And more inspired writing here, she's like, in this trance state, she's like, I am part human. And then like a 12-second pause, then part wolf. Like, you don't say.
You don't say.
We hadn't gotten that at this point. I really need you to make that
Can I
apparent to me.
complain about something real
Yeah.
quick? It's something I need to complain about.
Yeah, let it out. This is a safe space.
There's no wolves in this movie though. Right? I mean, they're kind of like kangaroos. Are they kangaroo wolves?
I mean, they're marsupial. They're were-marsupials. I don't know if that necessarily makes them a wolf in anything but like looks alone.
Wait, but the wolves were from Siberia, right? Or was
Oh, wait,
was that
yeah.
the thing? Like the Russian lady was a wolf, right? I mean,
Oh,
yes,
yeah.
she had her own tribe out there.
Okay,
and
so
they kind of
she
established
was.
that, right? There are tribes all around, right? This is Thylos, and she had her own tribe in Siberia, right?
Yeah, but no one's like, I'm a roo. I mean, they weren't. They're like that ancient, like, dead sea species or something.
She keeps making this stupid vocal fry sound whenever she's
Oh
like
my
partially
God.
in transformation, where she's like, it's so bad.
creepy coyote or something.
Yeah,
Yes!
it was so funny to me because like she only sounded Russian for like one scene. There was one scene where she was really putting on like a thick Russian accent, and then every other scene she sounded pretty much normal.
And I think it's because the director, unsure of what to do with anything in his life, was like, hey, you've seen The Exorcist, right? So, like, make weird voices with your mouth whenever you're possessed by a wolf of some sort. So everyone's like,
Yeah, she just sits there with her vocal fry.
I am a wolf.
Cut. Action.
I am a wolf.
Cut. Just like that. That's how they found the vocal fry sound that she used. So then
This is the sound we're looking for.
I found the sound you're looking for. So then some nonsense happens where we see a much more the baby, the little wolf rodent that we saw earlier is now a baby you can hold in your arms now. It has grown so much more than that. It's they've got a whole puppet for that thing, and it looks so weird. It's so strange to me.
So gross.
It was so weird. The movie just feels like nonstop shock factor. Just showing us this crazy puppet baby. I don't even know what you want to call it. It was so weird.
Strange.
Just a hairy baby is all it was. But then we're back in the hospital.
Yep.
And this time Thilo is there.
Thyroid.
And he's like, he's a funny guy. He's like, everything is such a joke to him. For some reason in this scene I wrote, he looks like Stellan Skarsgård in Dune. He's like, gross, bald character.
Icky.
So they've got him hooked up to the lie detector stuff, and he's just like, I don't know if they drugged him or something, but he's just like, just trying to ham it up comedy-wise. He's the Joker of this movie.
It was like he was put on a comedy night. And this was his big moment on the
and
mic.
he's sweating about it. So they're trying to get more werewolf insight on him. And then they ask him, okay, so like, what can make you transform into a werewolf? He's like, oh, it can make any time. You know, I can do it just by thinking about it. Sometimes if I get angry, sometimes if I get scared, flashing lights make me turn into a wolf. And then
flashing lights, and then use them.
Beckmeyer comes with like an industrial strength light, shines it in his face, and it's just flashing at him.
It was an industrial strength strobe.
Yeah, industrial strength strobe light. That's what they use in like the big time clubs.
Call Colt Flow right now. We'll throw in this industrial strength strobe.
And then everything starts exploding because apparently during the werewolf transformation they suck in power. Because Beckmeyer just shouts it out. He's like, he's sucking in power.
Kinky.
But yeah, then sparks are flying all over the place, and then guess what? He transforms into a werewolf.
What?
Yeah, exactly. Who would have guessed?
I never would have thought that would happen.
And then we get another one of those stretch werewolf faces that only a mother would love. And
I loved it.
How did they get him? Did they like tranquilize him?
Dude, I don't know. Do you remember?
They stop him somehow, and then
he just calms down.
And then he's on the ground, and they're like, "Oh, look at those stripes!" And it's just a weird shot of him gyrating on the ground.
Yeah, so I need everyone out there, just close your eyes for a second. Just close your eyes, okay? Your eyes closed? I don't believe you. Okay, close your eyes. All right, so imagine a very large naked man face down on the ground, completely covered in fur with some stripes on his back.
Yeah, he doesn't look like
thrusting into the ground.
He doesn't look like he's in like the wolf suit anymore. It's just like furry man back with the stripes.
I'm convinced this shot was actually his audition tape. And it was just like, okay, paint black stripes on your back and thrust into the ground.
It reminded me of that scene in It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia where Frank, Danny DeVito, is rolling around on the ground covered in hand sanitizer.
I must be pure.
I just want it to be pure.
So imagine that, but really hairy and like like ascended past man dad bod.
Yes.
So then the next level.
They calm him down. He's a human again. They've got him tied up real good this time. Yep. And they start asking him, okay, so basically there's a now extinct animal that when it died, the spirit of that animal inhabited man. And that is where these like marsupial werewolf people came from.
This is the first time I'm hearing about this. I did not know this happened.
Remember that?
No, I don't know. What is that?
Basically what they explained there, that like this extinct animal that was the dingo from the very beginning of the movie.
Was this? I think this was the point that I went up and put bleach in my eyes. Is that why I missed it?
Maybe, probably, yeah. I was putting bleach in my eyes. It was at this point that I finally noted that his name is not Sharp, it is Beckmeyer.
Wow, you got a good bit into the movie. That's like 8 hours of a 20-hour movie.
There's a weird bit where they're talking with some government people and they bring up the Pope and how he's like, are you suggesting that these wolves are satanic in nature? And you think that's going nowhere until later it does come up.
Yeah, it does come back.
And we'll talk about that later. Where do we go?
I don't know. Where do we come from?
It is just such a strange movie. So then Beckmeyer is he's totally on the side of the wolves now. He's like totally changed them. Yeah. He's like, I'm gonna free you guys, I'm gonna help you. So he does a prison break, gets Thilo and Olga out of their prison cells in this weirdly completely white prison where there's a person-sized cell, and then a cell the size of a monkey.
And there's a monkey in there
for some reason there's a monkey in one of these jails.
Probably the director's pet monkey. Honestly,
yeah,
like you've seen Friends.
It's so weird to me. So then we have this weird detour into like this dirt road chase scene where Beckmeyer is driving away with his escaped convicts and they're getting chased by some cops. And then we cut back to shots where it is Donnie and Jerboa. Gosh, I can't keep these names straight. There's so many names. Too much going on.
Yeah, I don't know.
And these two separate movies happening at the same time. But they're being pursued by this group of hunters solely because they look like weirdos. That's really all we get from that. There's these two dudes who look like hunters. They're like, she's a freak, she's weird.
But they just look like hunters because they're wearing like aviators.
Yeah, exactly. They're wearing like weird, like what is it, like a Elmer Fudd hat on too.
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, we're gonna go get a group of people and hunt down these two people. Because I'm assuming from where they're at, they cannot see their freak hairy baby, right?
Yeah.
They just see two people holding a baby walking through the woods. And that's apparently enough justification to just go hunt them.
It's good.
And there's even
It's
a
so
shot later
stupid.
where they hear a sound in the woods and they just shoot on sight. They don't look to see anything.
And then it like shows a kangaroo
They
get
killed a
hit.
kangaroo. That sucked.
I hated that.
It
Why
was
did that
so
happen?
weird. But then Kendi, the weird guy who is faking an Australian accent this whole time, jumps to them and he's like,
Have we even talked about him?
we talked about him once. We talked about him once when they went to go see Flo, the town.
Oh yeah, Kendi is here.
Yep, Kendi's here. So yeah, Kendi pops up
He was like the best character in the movie,
and
though.
he starts talking about Ermunin, which is apparently what they call the spirit of the
He's a
extinct
phantom
animal.
wolf.
Calls him the Phantom, Ermunin. It's so nuts to me. But then he just... It cuts so fast to so Kendi's there, gives some advice, he leaves.
Yeah.
And then we get a little bit more of Donnie and Jerboa. Then it cuts to him covered head to toe in white paint with these red stripes all over him.
And he's doing a little dance.
And he's doing a
making
little dance,
love.
calling out to Ermunin, saying he wants to inhabit
Possess
the big
me,
one.
Ermunin.
Possess me. He's
Possess
calling to the
me.
Phantom for help. And so now we get a sequence of the hunting squad that was hunting them getting fucked up by a wolf.
Yeah, but this is one of those moments where they were lazy, right? They take the stupid fisheye lens and just have it bounce between all of the different people.
There's even it always happens where the camera gets close to a person and the person grabs the camera basically by the sides. And then they get killed. And it's just nothing but that. Nothing but the fisheye POV cam killing all of these hunters. Yeah. I mean, it was pretty fun just in the sense that, I'm finally getting a scene of a bunch of people dying in a movie about werewolves, right? But then it ended pretty abruptly, and then it was just over.
It was over.
I didn't understand if he actually transformed or he was, channeling the wolf, because then later on they find him, and he's laying down on the ground, on his deathbed, I guess.
This is the best part of the whole movie.
This is the best bit.
It's the best part of the whole movie.
In, this weird, culty, spiritualistic fashion, Jerboa comes up to him, and she's like, you're gonna become a rainbow, and a spring, and the mountains. he just says, do you want to say?
He's just like, no, I'll just die.
Yeah, he says, quote, no way, I'm just gonna die. And then dies.
And he just closes his eyes and he's dead. And Jerboa's a little sad about it, and then they burn him, but they keep showing the fire they're apparently burning him in, and it's just sticks.
Yeah, I don't see any body in
no
there.
body
it
in
seems
there.
so strange to me. But then they end up leaving the fire, and then two other guys come up to the what is it, burned up corpse of the body.
Yeah.
The skeleton of human nature, then the skull is a wolf, which is weird because he didn't die in werewolf form, so that doesn't make much sense.
Yeah, but it was cool.
Yeah, it was neat. It did look cool. Then that werewolf skeleton comes to life. Its eye opens up and then it bites one of the dudes.
Yeah.
And then they just blast it to smithereens.
They really do.
Which is the worst way to be blasted, in my opinion.
Smithereens?
Yeah, to blast to smithereens. It's just like being torn asunder. Asunder is the worst way you can be torn. You feel me?
What about torn up under?
Torn up.
And
down under.
Down under! Yes!
That's it.
Incredible.
That's
All
great.
right.
Love
Bits
that.
over. Cut. Print.
So yeah, unfortunately, the skeleton werewolf bit is done as quick as it started because they blasted the smithereens, and unfortunately, it's just done.
It's just done.
Yeah, and then oh my god, there's an incredible moment where Thylo is upset with Donnie. He just doesn't like him. They have a little bit of a spat, and then everyone's like, Thylo, stop being so mean to him. And then he just kind of gets offended and just starts walking into the distance. Starts walking away.
It's like when you're in middle school and someone teases your mom, makes your mom a joke and that's my mom. As they leave, that's that kind of energy, right? And he literally just storms off.
And it's funny, there's a shot and you see him way in the distance walking away from all of them.
He was just going home.
Yeah.
And they forgot to get a shot of him.
And
so they just filmed it.
And so then Olga, the ballet dancer, who's like basically his wife, is like, I can't leave without him. And they're like, no, it's okay. I'm sure he'll come back. She's like, yeah, okay, I'll come with you guys.
Yeah, and she's cool with it now.
And then in the best comedic timing with their shifts,
I love
what
this so
happens,
much.
Derek? Where do we find Thylo?
So now it cuts to an overhead shot of Thylo, fully naked, maybe with like a loincloth.
Yeah.
Now, keep in mind, this man is perfectly shaved. He's not hairy at all
He's
now.
a bald
which
man.
is so weird. And he's covered in paint, again, covered in pink. His arms are raised. What is it? Inunaga.
Air Moonin.
Air Moonin, grant me your strength.
He says, grant me the big one.
Grant me the big one.
It's so
now, you can't
funny
see
to
it right
me.
now, but my arms are raised in the air.
Yeah, and
I'm
he's
conjuring
in
this.
similar fashion to Kendi was. He's covered head to toe in like white paint with the red stripes on it, right? Doing this like whole ritual thing.
Yep.
He's actually at the corpse of Kendi, right? I noticed that when we watched it the second time because it was so funny we had to see it again. And then he does become the big one. This time it actually works because we find those two guys that blasted the skeleton corpse to smithereens. We find them. One is in a tent, which is funny. Lex actually mentioned you can absolutely see the tent is being shaken by like crew members' hands.
And you can totally see hands pushing through the tent.
It's so good. I love that
it's
so
wild.
much. Which is why it was so great to have you here to notice things like that.
Yes,
right?
it was so
I wouldn't
good.
think about that from like the production angle of all these things. It's so fun.
No.
You
yeah.
knew it looked weird.
Yeah,
You
it's-
knew. Like,
Yeah, you felt weird about
Something
it.
looked
Sure.
strange about it.
Yeah.
Like, which is funny because outside it wasn't even that windy to be shaking a tent.
No,
No.
I'm sure they were
right?
on a soundstage and it just did not look real. So
Yep.
like, okay,
Oh,
we need
yeah.
some wind, but we don't have
We need
anything.
something to make this better.
Everybody,
right?
use your hands.
And Derek,
All hands on
Hands on
deck.
deck.
All hands on deck.
Very good.
But then Derek noticed that the man inside the tent, the one who was attacked by the skeleton, he's just surrounded by like random rockets and rocket launchers, just
no
loose
reason.
on the tent
Yeah.
floor next to him.
I often cuddle with my rocket launcher.
And then like it's silence. His buddy's not responding to him. Then through the open door of the tent, this gigantic wolf head comes through.
huge.
Yeah, and then point blank just pulls one of those rocket launchers and then bam, right in the face, right in front of him. Everything explodes. It is the most dramatic explosion I've ever seen.
And I'm pretty sure it was practical.
Had to be.
It didn't look like 80 CGI.
But
so
it was so crazy because it looked like there was an explosion and then actual fireworks
I think it was
after that.
fireworks.
It had to be,
It had to
right?
be fireworks,
It did not
yeah.
look like an explosion after that
No.
first fact. But like, do you think they ran the risk of like burning this forest down?
They had
Because
to.
There was a lot of pyrotechnics.
I actually started to search this and then didn't. I was looking up to see if there were any big fires started in this.
In Australia, Australian fire of 1987.
Because that would have been hilarious,
Yeah.
right?
It was
so okay, no, that
so
wouldn't have
funny
been
to me.
hilarious. That would actually have been terrible. I'm not editing this in post. I'm actually apologizing.
Would have been terrible. We do not condone forest fires. Smokey
Down
the
with
Bear.
fire.
Smokey the Bear would have our asses if we let that out.
Don't people like hate Smokey the Bear?
Is that what happened?
I felt like people don't like him.
Hasn't Smokey the Bear been replaced by like a literal firefox now? Am I imagining that?
I love wait, like the internet browser?
No, like a real thing. I will find. Yeah, it's an actual fox. It's a yellow mascot that is a
Oh,
fox
wait.
that is fire.
That's
He's been
condoning fire though.
He's been replaced, right? That's the
Well,
thing.
he's been. That's.
Maybe
It
they're
seems like
enemies.
Smokey the Bear heads for retirement. Breaking news, everybody. Smokey the Bear is retired.
Oh.
Have all the fires you want. But see, I don't get it. Oh, that's such a sad picture. Smokey the Bear is waving to the camera.
Oh my gosh!
As the newer, younger, hotter fox is in the...
I think that Smokey the Bear got like,
Ember-
canceled or something.
The
I don't remember
fox's
why,
name
but it
is-
was like an actual thing.
The fox's name is Ember the Fox. I feel like that condones fires way more than it prevents
And
fires.
Smokey?
Yeah. Well, I
Oh.
guess Smokey is kind of a bad name for it, but like I feel like Smokey the Bear like lives in the forest and he wants to preserve. He wants
Oh,
to.
foxes don't live in the forest, Isaac?
But it's made of fire. It looks like a fire fox.
I'm so confused. What about Chrome?
So anyway, we need to discuss how this movie shifts dramatically in tone. It is
Yeah.
the whole horror movie has happened at this point. It ended with that giant explosion on the werewolf head. Because from here on, it is like a happy, like sappy Hallmark movie, hopeful, cheerful. I don't know what it was, but I was
gonna give
so
it more
pissed
adjectives?
about it. I got nothing else for you. But
It was Little House on the the outback.
Little House on the Outback. It really feels
Laura
that way.
Ingalls.
Because
She's here.
suddenly, now that Thilo has transformed into the big one and died,
big one.
Olga's just like in love with Beckmeyer.
Yeah,
And there's a
'cause why
scene
not?
of the two of them just like holding each other on this mountaintop, and they're in love suddenly. And so like, cool. I was like, okay, where are we going from here? Apparently we're gonna go to them building their own commune in the middle
Yeah.
of the woods in Australia,
Flow
I guess.
2 is what this is.
The baby, the werewolf hairy baby, is now a kid, a full-grown kid.
With no fur!
loses all of its hair.
This made me so mad!
And so much time is passing. I don't understand how much time, like I don't know how long they've been out here, but they've had a whole baby in this time frame.
Yeah.
Because now the werewolf baby is grown up and a full kid, and now Olga and Beckmeyer also have their own kid.
Yeah.
Like it just doesn't make any sense to me.
Everybody's having kids.
It's wild to me.
This movie is pro-werewolf repopulation.
Yeah, and I'm like, I don't understand.
I'm here for it.
I don't understand what kind of movie this is, but they've basically taken probably the smartest approach to this. They're like, listen, society doesn't like werewolves, and you're being hunted down by your cult and all that kind of stuff. We just need to lay low, right?
Let's head it over to the town.
Just these little house on the prairie.
Buy some food and head back to our commune.
Little house on the outback vibes. And I from here, I'm like, is this how the movie's going to end? Because at this one,
It
we know
felt
that
like
it had
it.
like 16 minutes in the end of it, right? So I'm like, what is this it? Because it felt like the longest ending. It felt like it should have ended and just kept getting stretched out and just kept happening. It was weirdly hopeful.
Guess what? It keeps going.
Yeah, it just keeps going. So now they have a daughter who's a full-grown adult. And then it is I keep forgetting the names. Donnie and Jerboa. They're like, hey, we think we're ready to go back out into the world. We're gonna try to do it. And then Beckmeyer's like, nah, man, listen, I'm having a good time out here in the woods with my daughter and my Russian wife, who's also a wolf.
So let's just like give a recap of what happened to their lives now. Because I feel like that's how it closes out the movie, right? So like Donnie and Jerboa, they moved to California.
Yeah, so hold on. We find out
Why do I have to hold on?
Because we hold on because a very hilarious plot point happens here where we find out that you can just drive up to wherever they're living because Sharp comes up to
that's
him
right.
and tells them
I
it's
forgot.
been 15 years that they've been out here. Like, thank God somebody told me how long it's been because I honestly didn't
I
understand.
thought it had been a week.
No.
It felt like a week.
It was so weird to me. Like they had nothing to justify or like indicate how much time was passing besides kids were growing up. Nobody seemed very aged, very different or anything. It was wild. There was no changing of seasons happening, none of that.
Yeah.
And so Sharp comes to them to say, hey guys, did you hear the good word? You're chill now. The Pope granted amnesty to werewolves.
That's right.
Because remember
God for the
earlier
Pope.
how they thought wolves were kind of satanic? It's okay, guys.
They're okay
The Pope
now.
said they were cool.
And the president endorsed
And then
that.
the president's like, hey, yeah, I'm all right
Big
with that.
thumbs up
Because at
for
first
that.
the president was like, no way, not going to be down with that.
No werewolf.
And then they had another baby. So now he has two kids. He's got the full-grown adult and then another baby.
Yeah.
It was so stupid. So yeah, then we find out, Jerboa and Donnie went to California.
Yeah, and Donnie changed his name to Solly Spellingberg.
Yeah.
Pretty good. And she changed her name to Loretta Carson.
Yeah.
Pretty
So
good.
now she's going under an alias, which is funny because they make a comment about how they've disguised themselves to live in the real world. Donnie actually did because he's got like this mustache and he's always wearing sunglasses and this hat.
Yeah.
He looks disguised. She does not in
She
the
looks
slightest.
exactly the same. In fact, they use pictures of her that were like from the beginning of the movie.
Yep.
When she was originally on that
When
movie
she
set.
was in Shapeshifters Part 8.
Yes.
It was so funny. And
Forgot that happened.
there's a weird scene between the two of them where they're kind of like shitty like actor people now.
I
They're
hated
arguing
that.
about it. They're like, you need to do this scene, needs to have more sex. She's like, you think this movie's about sex? You don't understand. 15% of the movie is me. It was such a weird argument for them
was
to
so
have.
dumb.
Just to show how much they've changed as people in this time span, I guess, right?
And then time keeps passing.
Mm-hmm.
And now, what is his name? Beckmeyer?
Beckmeyer, we're at his lecture hall, right?
Yeah, they move back into town. They moved to California.
So yeah, because the Pope
The Pope
has
says
given
it's
them
okay.
has given them amnesty, so they're fine. They can live amongst people.
And now we're in
Which
like
is funny because it still seems like they're keeping that under wraps, which is something I
Yes.
didn't understand. Because they're like, okay, hold on. Wolves are cool, but you're still being secret about it.
yeah, but like don't tell anyone.
Right,
Like
yeah.
it's cool, it's fine, but like do it at home.
Yeah.
Ooh.
He's giving a
I'm getting
lecture
mad.
in this lecture hall that is full of people wearing nothing but salmon and pink shirts.
That's it.
I don't
And
understand
black
why.
pants and white pants.
It's
That's
so
it.
weird. Why are they
Very
all wearing the
culty.
same shirt?
But I think it's like a dystopian future, right? Like in the future, we're all gonna wear salmon shirts. because salmon are the only source of food we're gonna have.
I guess so.
In the year 4000.
It kind of felt like one of those things where, like, older movies didn't understand like what the future was going to be like, so they had really weird ideas of what that was going to be like. So that's one of these, like, in the future, everyone will wear one brand of shirt. It's all salmon and pink.
It's just the cheap way to do the future.
Hey,
oh
that
my
makes sense.
God, yes. That's so true.
That's great.
That's so true. Because it's the same lecture hall from the beginning of the movie, just at a different angle and with different lighting.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It was very obvious. And then everyone's, salmon.
Yeah. So then Donnie and Jerboa's son, who was the little wolf baby we saw in the beginning, shows up. He's like, hey, I'm their son. I came to see you. I'm a monotone robot. This man cannot deliver lines to save his life.
Yeah.
It was so weird.
This guy, I swear they were holding him at gunpoint, and he had nenever read before this moment.
Like, please don't make me do this, Dad.
Dad, no.
Put the gun down. I'll say it. And so then he's like, my mom and dad told me I need to come contact you. He's like, okay, well, how do I see them? He's like, you can start tonight by watching TV. Very so much like, stupid. And cue the next scene. So then, we're in the house of Beckmeyer and his wife Olga. They're in this very nice, modern White House. Looks very future-y. And then they're watching an award ceremony.
Yeah, it's basically the Oscars.
Which they want it to be the Oscars, but it feels like another sketch comedy bit. Like,
it wasn't 100% a sketch comedy.
It was so strange to me. So then, lo and behold, Jerboa wins Best Actress, right?
Well, of course, yeah.
Yeah, happy ending for everybody.
Until...
Oh
no. What's going to happen?
Paparazzi all snapping photos of her, right?
What
flashing
happens
the
with
lights
flashing
of her.
lights?
And then the flashing lights transform her. I'm actually surprised at how many times that does come up in the movie.
Yeah, but I feel like that was like one idea that they were just like, that's a good one.
Yeah, let's keep it going. So guess what?
It's
transforms.
Cheap. A flashing light is cheap.
Yeah, it works. That's very easy to do. And so
I could do it.
What's funny is we get a couple shots of different people watching this on TV, and the best part was that from a cave, the nun people from the beginning, they'd have that weird fleshy werewolf face again, are sitting there laughing at the TV in their cave as she's transforming on television.
Their TV was like on an old log stump. It was like falling off. It was so funny.
It was so wild. And then to top it all up, there's this chaotic scene. She's transforming, lights are flashing, she's freaking out, everybody's watching the TV and screaming, oh no, it's terrible. Hitchcock comes back for
not real Hitchcock.
Not a real Hitchcock. The wannabe, the pseudo Hitchcock.
Yep.
And then he comes back and just says, cut.
And that's how the movie ends.
And then the movie ends.
Oh, we made it. Everybody take a deep breath.
Okay. Am I as sweaty as he was in that movie? Because I feel.
Well, hey Jimmy, get over here. Spritz Isaac.
Thank you, Jimmy. Oh man,
you can now shimmer.
I look better when I'm glistening. It's in my contract.
So in that movie, we had an amount of jump scares that was unidentifiable.
Just purely unidentifiable.
Because I don't feel like there were any that you could really classify as jump scares, unless you count just the movie itself. In which case, there was one jump scare. It was 11 seconds long. There was a guy jumping on the
guy jumping, and I was scared of it.
Scary jump.
The scary jump.
Yeah.
And 29 deaths were in that movie.
Yeah, I've been dealt psychic damage by a movie before, but this one takes the cake. Derek even mentioned, he said, I'm feeling the movie equivalent of jet lag.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Because, we keep making jokes about it, but there were different points during the movie where we were like, do you remember 6 hours ago when we said there was an hour left? Like, we said that, 3 times through the movie.
Yeah.
It dragged. Mm-hmm. It was constant changing of scenes, changing it. It was hard to follow anything. Yeah. Which made it feel longer.
Yeah. So do you want to talk about our expectations and where they ended up?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's start this way. You first, sir.
Who are you talking to, Derek?
Yeah, you, Derek.
Talking to Jim.
Jim Lad. I fired
Jim Lad.
Because that's how it works in the industry.
Oh, that's true. I learned that today. All right, yeah. So my expectation, jokes that try really too hard. I just said what for some reason.
Like what jokes?
What jokes? No, I think I just meant what. Like what? What?
Yeah, really, I'm feeling a lot more energized now, but after we'd finished that movie, I was in a dark place, guys.
No, really, it was bad. So much forced camp, you'd see a field of Boy Scouts. I didn't see any fields of Boy Scouts, but I did see a lot of camp. Yeah. And my comment I wrote was, this was funny 2 hours ago before the marsupials attacked.
It really felt like the movie lost itself at a certain point, right?
I think it was 5 minutes into the movie.
And that ending was a completely different movie.
It really was. Cool prosthetics. They weren't good per se, but they were funny to look at. They were hilarious.
I appreciated the effort.
icky gore. There was so little gore, it hurt me.
Yeah. I feel like even PG-13 can get away with a little bit more than that.
Fun for half the family. If the family is half made up of marsupials, then yes. They were really pushing that PG-13 rating. No, I felt like this movie was almost PG.
Yeah.
Like, the only thing that made it PG-13 was maybe the language, but I don't even remember any language, so...
There was nudity, too.
Was there?
Yeah, with the roll in the hay. And wolf boobs.
For my surprises, I felt that this movie actually had some genuinely hilarious moments. Like, I do feel like they played a little too hard into the comedy side, and so it kind of forced a little bit. But I did find myself laughing at the movie's jokes more than like the movie itself, if that makes sense. I felt like there were some funny moments.
I feel like there were a lot of funny moments that we enjoyed, but I feel like maybe not the moments they wanted us to laugh about, right?
Probably. I'm just trying to, I don't know.
Like that man falling out of the building probably wasn't meant to be the funniest scene in the movie, but it was.
Unless it was.
Unless.
All right, Isaac.
So for me, my expectations, I thought fun practical effects that will make me love the movie. Honestly, not enough of them, but I did enjoy them a lot. And I think you called it right out the gate. We did not see anything more than what was inside of the trailer, right? We saw all the fun bits.
We did.
But I did still enjoy them. They were fun, especially that first, not a porno werewolf movie. Plot that is hard to follow? I have no words.
There was no plot.
Need I say anything? That was... It took work. We were pulling teeth to get the plot together for this movie.
No plot and too much plot, all at the same time. And I don't know how they pulled that
and
off.
it cut back and forth between the two of them too often.
Oh, yeah.
In terrible ways. And then I said terrible acting that you would teach a class about. Not even the worst thing about this movie, honestly. I was kind of distracted from the acting because of the directions the movie was taking.
Yeah.
So, like, I kind of forgot about the acting except for a couple certain parts of it, right? Goofy werewolves, weird, stretched out, cartoony faces, very weird.
They were fun.
Then a fun time for the whole family? Certainly not. I don't know. I did have fun watching it with you guys.
It was fun.
Some surprises for me. I just was surprised at how much of the plot has nothing to do with any actual wolves. There seemed to be so much going on around an actual wolf. I'm like, is this even a werewolf movie? Because I wonder. Very different than like the Howling 1, which is the only of the other Howlings that I've seen. Just surprised by where the entire thing decided to go by the end of it. And how little you got to see of any of the kills, but of course PG-13, right? And then first use of a werewolf with a pouch that I've ever seen. So
yeah, first werewolf kangaroo I've ever heard of for sure.
Yeah. Where do you
I don't know
feel
if
you
kangaroos are
ended up?
That's what it was.
Where do you feel you ended up with your expectations, Lex?
Let's see. Well, you said there's really no new effects.
Yeah.
The fake Australian accents. Yeah, I just think there was a lack of Australian accents.
Really?
There's just none.
Not even much of an attempt except for Kendi.
What was that about, huh?
And it was bad. And he said shrimp on the bobby. Like, come on.
Except that one random dude that emerged from the forest. Who was like the hiker dude? That guy.
Oh yeah.
We didn't talk about him.
No, we didn't.
Guy.
I forgot that guy existed.
That guy's Australian.
Yep.
Yeah,
for real. They had
but
one
he was
real
like
Australian actor.
I'm still convinced he was actually on a hike during the set.
100%.
Yeah, and they were like, "Wait, come here."
That's why he's the only one with the accent.
Yeah.
Does that stuff happen? Have you seen?
I think there's union stuff that you kind of can't do that. But if it's a non-union show, sure, go for it.
That's
Makes
fair.
sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, give him a check.
You could have a guy see
Hand him
you
a
on a
beer.
park bench and then chase you and then put you in the movie.
Yeah.
No, that's true.
If
Yeah.
you do it well, yeah.
Crazy.
Now we know this was a non-union movie.
Yeah,
I mean, very possibly.
Most likely.
Yeah.
Evil koala. Do the nuns count as evil koalas?
Kinda.
I would count that.
I'm gonna
Koala.
Yeah,
I'm
absolutely.
gonna take a drink for that one. Some sort of. Oh no, I didn't. Let's see. Something nasty with a pouch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very much so.
100%.
Yeah, gross.
I mean, the nastiest of things with the pouch.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
I won.
Yeah, I think you won the game.
I think you won.
100%.
Okay.
We should make that a thing. We should try to see who can be the most accurate with their things by the end.
Oh yeah.
And then we'll have like a point system and I will destroy you.
I mean, yeah, you probably will.
Doubt it. And we can if we can get more specific like yours were. I really enjoyed your expectations.
Yeah, that was
great.
That was great.
No, it was good.
No,
I loved it.
I
loved
want
it.
more specific.
So
expectations.
where did you end up with your verdict on this movie?
I'm sorry, but for me, this is horrible. I can't really recommend anyone watch this except for like the crazy bits. I think that they're worth a watch, but I don't think it's worth sitting through the movie for.
Yeah, it is nonsense. Definitely.
It was like Troll level 2 bad without the enjoyment I feel by watching Troll 2. But that's me personally, you know. What about you?
For me, I need a new word for how much of a mess this one was, so I say disasterable. There was so much going on and just like trying and failing to be so many different things and way too much plot and not enough of what I actually came here for in the first place. It was just like wasted for me all in the trailer. You know, I got all I needed from the movie in that span of time, right?
Yeah,
so just
absolutely.
a nightmare of a time. Fun with friends, I can say.
Yeah, absolutely.
We made the fun, though. The movie did not make the fun for us.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. What about you? Where do you think you stand? Like, give this a verdict. It doesn't have to fit in horrible ranking, whatever.
Well, I mean, I told you guys before we started recording this that I was going to be like the positive ray of sunshine.
Yeah.
For this podcast, but it was horrible.
Yeah! Yeah, it was really bad.
That is okay.
All right, well, let's before Mr. Batman comes into the building.
Yeah, I told him he's awaiting a call. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Let's hear what you had some things you wanted to say, Lex.
Oh, I had a theory.
Yes.
I'll do this quick.
Please.
So,
No, don't worry about it.
Take
You're good.
your
Take your time.
as I was watching it, there was a promise building,
Mm-hmm.
starting with when let's see, where was it? I think they were watching the movie, and
Yeah.
she said, "That's not how werewolves change."
Yes.
right?
Yes, that's right.
And there was this tension building there, and then they're in the bed together, and he's like, "No, you said that thing about."
Yeah,
like,
right.
He calls back
werewolves."
to it.
Like, what was that about? She's like, "Oh, it was like kind of you'll see."
Yeah,
And
and she
it
did
was
kind of have that
itchy.
cheeky kind of...
Yeah.
Yeah. So what I noticed was that the scene, that fake movie that they were watching,
Yes.
Yeah.
that transition was very similar to. Honestly, it wasn't. I mean, like he turned into Wile E. Coyote at the end.
Yes.
Yeah.
But before that, it was kind of the same. I thought, I'm not an expert, but it seemed like the same effects that the Howling Part 1
Mm-hmm.
used.
Oh, definitely.
Which at the time, as we were talking about, was like cutting edge.
Mm-hmm.
All the other movies borrowed it.
Yep.
Okay, yeah.
But they wanted to do
London.
that.
That was the thing.
Mhm.
And I feel like that's the reason that movie has stood the test of time.
Mm-hmm.
So this fake movie that she's like, that's nothing, like used the same effect. So it was like
Interesting.
this movie, I felt like the pitch for this movie was, this is going to like just push those effects further.
Yeah, we're gonna
We're
take
gonna
it
do
Okay.
something even better.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it didn't.
Yeah, it
What's
didn't. No.
weird is that because we were watching the scene when what's the guy's name? Thilo? Or
Thilo.
Thilo, yeah.
Okay, Thilo.
With the big head in the
Yeah.
tent.
Yeah, when he turned into a werewolf,
Mm-hmm.
again, we were like, what are they doing with the camera? They did all these crazy things to
Mhm.
like jazz it up. And then it was the exact same effect, but they just did it in fast motion.
Oh, yeah.
Like they made it
Yeah.
faster. So I'm like, I literally like that effect was cool, but it was too slow.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
I think that they ran out of money to do something cooler. So they just said,
Yeah.
let's just make it cooler by making it faster. But we can't actually make the effect faster. So let's speed it up in
Okay.
post. And
Interesting.
that's what it is. So I
Tracks.
think the whole point of that movie that they were watching was just to promise that like, oh, this is what you saw before and you thought it was really cool.
Yeah.
It's going to get so much
It's going to get so much cooler.
And then, yeah.
That's
That was
crazy.
like the craziest like promise and then
And disappointment.
set up.
Yeah,
and
you're
payoff.
right though. That never
Could have
never
paid
paid
off.
off.
Could have been a great thing. It just did never really get there.
And that's why the movie was bad.
put a
Thank you
wrap
for
on.
coming to
Do
our
you
TED
have
Talk.
any more insights? Anything about the script that you thought was crazy other than the whole thing?
No, I mean, I was trying to be positive, and so I was, as we were watching it, I was like, you know what? I'm going to put on my producer hat, and
Yeah.
I'm going to talk about, I'm going to focus on the ways they saved money that, I can really commend them for.
Yeah.
Because I think they, they made some smart budget cuts, I
Yeah.
think, and, I really appreciated them using the salmon and orange shirts for the future.
Yeah, that's
Which
true.
is
You did
really
mention that.
smart.
Yeah.
That's
Saved
neat.
a lot of money.
I didn't. I don't ever think about these kinds of
No,
things.
me
right?
neither.
Yeah, films are expensive.
Yeah.
Films are
No kidding.
expensive. Yeah.
And even with $1 million budgets, I'm sure there's you always want to try to find ways to cut those
Yeah.
costs, right?
Yeah, instead of everyone being a robot,
Mhm.
everyone's wearing a shade of orange.
There we go.
There you go.
Mhm.
Great.
That checks. That
So
checks out.
smart, yeah. They obviously saved on film because they really only used. You can tell they only did 2 takes per shot because
Yeah.
there was flies on everybody's faces.
Yes!
Oh yeah, that's
Like,
right.
Yeah, we didn't even get into that. There were several sequences where flies were literally landing on people's faces, and they kept that cut
That
for
was
some
the
reason.
best take, I guess. So, but good for them. They saved money there.
Yep.
There was full on film lights in the shot often.
Really?
that hospital room.
Wow.
Those lights, those were film lights.
Yeah,
I
that's
don't
kind of what I was thinking too.
That's crazy.
I don't know
Yeah.
why they even.
I didn't even think about that, but that's so true.
I think they were trying to play it off as this is an experimental room, we're doing
Yeah.
science experiments, so we
Yeah.
gotta
So they can play it off,
Yeah,
right?
we're filming these, werewolf transformations.
Interesting.
That was weird. They obviously, based on the opening credits, they used a website to cast their movie. I don't know what that was about. It was the movie was cast by Forecast.
Forecast.
Oh,
yeah.
that's right.
Which I've never seen that in my life.
No, that is
Have
strange.
we looked
Because it's
this up? Has
usually
anyone
a
looked this
person,
up?
right?
It's a person, yeah.
Like Norma McDonald. Thank you for casting. It was like
A casting director,
Yeah.
but this was cast by
I can't
an
understand it.
software. I
Mhm.
don't know.
Yeah, I don't really understand. And like, why wouldn't you? And it seems like it doesn't.
Well, it has now turned into a brand website
Oh gosh.
Oh yeah,
to cast for models.
casting direction. Wow.
So they just went to the website and picked people.
So they
Future talent
cast
for
models,
brands.
not actors, maybe.
I mean,
Good for them.
Yeah, because we know
if it was still
Thyla
like
was a
this all this
looker.
time ago.
Yeah,
That's
definitely
crazy.
Saved money by doing that.
Oh, that's crazy.
And then obviously using the POV cam instead of actually filming werewolf attacks.
Yeah.
That's smart. And
'Cause,
getting
yeah.
hit by a car.
Yeah, you could just skip that.
Was
I
so
mean, yeah,
crazy.
they skipped a lot of plot just by getting through. So that's crazy.
That's nuts.
Who's that at the door?
Who's that at the? No, you can come in. He's. I don't want to. There's a friend here. I'm
scared?
embarrassed. I'm embarrassed.
Such a wimp.
You're fine. Come on. just get on in here.
Just
Okay.
shut up and talk.
Just do the say the thing. Say the blah 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 blah. I messed it
He
up.
still
I did
has,
it
like,
wrong.
water in his
I
lungs.
messed it up. I'm sorry. Okay. Hello, everyone. This is me, Trivia Dracula. I'm here to give you
Trivia Dracula.
Count
Trivia.
Count
You don't remember
Trivia.
your own freaking name.
Am I not allowed to try a new name? Is that so terrible?
No, it's terrible. I hate it.
That is not what I sound like.
A little
That's
bit.
terrible. All right, take your cards. Okay.
No, these go to Isaac. Let me hand them to
Okay,
him.
thanks. Now he's made a mess of all my cards. Okay, so the trivia cards from Count Trivia tell me, despite the title and the fact that it claims to be based on the books, The Howling 1, 2, and 3 by Gary Bradner, the film is actually unrelated to any of Bradner's novels,
Okay.
other than being a story about werewolves.
Cool.
Furthermore, The Howling 3 uses only two elements from the novel, The Howling 3. Those are the werewolves being portrayed in a sympathetic light, and the humans are a danger to their existence.
Wow.
That's pretty much it.
Dang.
Yeah. And other things like the experiments being performed on the werewolves, such as hypnosis and forcing a transformation against their will, that's like all it takes. It wasn't set in Australia, that's for sure.
What the heck?
But they seem to make that such a point for no reason. Nicole Kidman was considered for the part of Jerboa.
Oh.
Isn't that weird?
My.
Imagine that film.
Yeah, but when they Googled her in Forecast, or what was the search engine back then? Yahoo'd her.
Yahooter?
Forecast.
That's what Google is in Australia.
Yahoo'd her. Wait, whoa.
That's like Canadian.
Oh, yeah, go over to
Derek,
Yahoo'd
we
her.
need to have a conversation about how Canada is not Australia.
Is it not? They're both very extreme temperatures.
So, apparently this movie did not receive a theatrical release in its native Australia.
What?
Yeah,
What?
there were some like legal problems or like rights issues that were going on.
They didn't get the rights for the book.
Yeah, I probably not, right? So yeah, it was not filmed in Australia, which I thought was kind of funny. The film is considered Ozploitation, which is Australian exploitation picture. I learned that word today.
Okay.
That's insane.
There was another film. The film was also titled A Womb with a View.
Oh.
A
Excuse
Womb
me?
with a View. Isn't
Excuse
that
me?
terrible?
That's
Pretty
Is that
awful,
better
right?
or worse?
I'm
I
kind
can't
of
tell.
I'm kind of happy about it
It
though.
really nuts to me. And then my final bit of trivia here, thanks to Count Trivia, says the werewolf that sticks his head into the Omega team's tent, which
Yeah.
was the big one, right, was actually a leftover prop from the movie Razorback 1984,
Oh,
redecorated to
interesting.
try and resemble a werewolf rather than a boar. So that's why it looked kind of funky. It was a boar head that they
Okay.
used.
That's why it looks so big.
Yeah, exactly. So they took this boar's head and tried to fashion it into a werewolf head, you know? Which is
Smart.
great. Don't
That's
have to
pretty
build your
smart.
own werewolf head from scratch, especially the big one, right?
These
Yeah,
producers, they
clear-
were thinking.
they know what
Clearly
they're
they didn't
doing.
have enough money to do much of the wolf because like they didn't show us anything other than the head and it exploded.
Yeah,
That's
smart.
crazy.
Yeah, so yeah, that's what I got for my trivia.
Awesome. So next week we will be watching Hunchback B of Notre Dame.
That's not true. Don't get their hopes up.
Just kidding.
The next movie we will be watching is 13 Ghosts from 2001.
Yeah,
So that one's been on my radar for a minute beyond the podcast. My sister goes nuts about it, so she'll be excited to hear us talk about that. So that's what you're in store for next week.
And we'd like to thank Lex. Thank you so much for joining us on this adventure. It's been so much fun.
Our humble little podcast here, really appreciate it. And your insights were wonderful.
Oh, they were incredible.
Really helps us to see those kinds of things and just like think from that perspective. And it's just like very interesting to me. Like nothing you said, I was like, that's kind of a snore fest. And you're like, it's all so entertaining.
It's all super interesting. Like,
I know, it's just so interesting.
It's a completely different world that we are, like, it's a world we're very much immersed in, but we know nothing about, right?
Yeah.
So it's very cool to see insights from that side.
So thank you for joining us, offering your insights during the movie, during the podcast.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun.
It's been great fun.
Everybody out there, please go watch Last Queen on Earth, The Last Queen on Earth. Right?
The Last Queen on Earth.
On YouTube.
Which is available on YouTube, right?
And her husband, Michael, they put a lot of work into that, so definitely go support that. Keep an eye out for anything you do in the future.
And we will prove that it is not one that belongs on this podcast. It belongs on a very different podcast where they talk
absolutely.
about great
We're going to go watch it later. Absolutely.
Oh, I'm looking it up right now.
And then everyone look out for Gonzo Girl to watch Willem Dafoe be Gonzo whenever that comes out. I don't know when that's coming out.
So
it's coming out soon. So yeah, thank you again so much. It was so much fun. Hope you have you back on the future. Maybe if there's a crazy movie you like that you're like, hey, you guys, this might be perfect. We'd love to have your insight again.
Please. Yeah, I'm waiting for you guys to make your own movie.
I mean, maybe we will, and we'll call it
Gonzo's Girl.
Gonzo's Girl. Oh,
that's so
good.
Great.
I love it so much.
It's like a famous quote from Gone Girl, like right now.
Are you looking up quotes from Gone Girl?
Let's see. No, you gotta like. There's something disturbing about recalling a warm memory and feeling utterly cold. Is that anything?
Said Gonzo.
Said Gonzo, kind of.
That was just kind of sad.
Yeah, Mike, that's nothing.
And on that note, we will see you next week. Thanks so much for listening.
Thank you, guys.
Goodbye.